Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Multnomah County's second public budget hearing for our fiscal year 2025 budget. I'm Jessica Vega Peterson, your Multnomah County Chair, and I want to thank you for joining this evening to share your thoughts and priorities. Before we start, I want to let everyone know that interpretations of this hearing are available in American Sign Language, Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, and Somali. Alternatively, if you're watching online, you may also consider using YouTube's live closed captioning function. I'd like to ask each of the interpreters here tonight to come up to the presenter table and introduce themselves in their language. If you could come up one at a time, that would be great. And I'll go ahead and start. Thank you so much. Can we have the
Sorry. At the microphone, please. Just at the table, please.
Oh, right over here at this front table. There's a microphone that should be turned on.
And if the other interpreters can just come forward, please. Thank you.
Okay, and if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves in your language.
Добрый вечер. Меня зовут Аня, я переводчик. Сегодня у нас будет слушание по бюджету. Если вы хотите услышать это слушание на русском языке, или у вас есть показания, и вы хотите поучаствовать, и хотите, чтобы я для вас перевела, пожалуйста, подойдите ко мне в противоположной стороне этого зала. Спасибо.
Thank you. Good evening.
Gracias. Mi nombre es Iván Rivero. Good evening. My name is Iván Rivero, and I am here tonight to interpret this budget hearing.
I'm sorry, could you say it in Spanish,
En
please?
español, por favor.
Gracias. En español, mi nombre es Iván Rivero. Buenas tardes, y estoy aquí esta noche para interpretar esta audiencia del presupuesto al español. Tenemos un grupo de 4 intérpretes. We have a group of 4 interpreters. Thank you.
Thank you.
في wanaagsan magacaygu waa Zahra meeshaan waxaan u imaaday habeen wanaagsan magacaygu waa Zahra halkan waxaan maanta u joogaa in aan ii turjumaano maanta maqalkan haddii aad jeceshihiin inaad dhegaysataan maqalkan ama aad ka marqaati furtaan oo aad rabtiin inaan ii turjumaano way arki kartaan gadaal ayaan taagan waa mahadsantihiin.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Víctor y estoy aquí para ayudar con la interpretación en esta audiencia presupuestaria al español. Si le gustaría escuchar esta audiencia en español o si está haciendo un testimonio y le gustaría la interpretación, por favor puede reunirse con nosotros en la parte de atrás. Gracias.
Xin chào quý vị, tôi tên là Trang, là thông dịch viên tiếng Việt và tối nay tôi ở đây để thông dịch về phiên điều trần công khai đề tài ngân sách qua tiếng Việt. Và nếu quý vị muốn lắng nghe phiên điều trần này bằng tiếng Việt hoặc là quý vị muốn phát biểu làm chứng và muốn tôi dịch cho quý vị, xin vui lòng tìm đến với tôi ở phía trên này. Xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Thank you all so much for coming up here. All right, thank you. So always, please bear with us through any technical difficulties that may arise during the meeting. Tonight's budget hearing is one of the most important ways Multnomah County collects community feedback on our budget before it will be adopted on Thursday, June 6th at the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Our third and final budget hearing will be held on Wednesday, May 29th, 6 p.m., and will take place virtually on WebEx. More information about that meeting can be found on our website. I'd also like to remind folks that written testimony on the county's budget can be submitted online throughout the budget process. You can find that form at our website, multco.us/budget-feedback. You'll also find links to the form in Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, Somali, Simplified Chinese, and Chuukese on the website. You can also simply email your comments to our board clerk at boardclerk@multco.us. I want to thank the youth organized and united to help for hosting us tonight in this space. Thanks also for your ongoing work to motivate, inspire, and empower youth, families, and educators to dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline and support youth and families, especially in East Portland, Gresham, and throughout Multnomah County. Youth's work is important and valuable, and we love this opportunity to be in community together in this space tonight. I want to also say thank you to the Coalitions of Communities of Color for co-hosting tonight's public hearing with us and for your ongoing collaboration, partnership in all of this work. I want to thank all of you for taking the time this evening either to be here in person or joining us virtually to share your thoughts and ideas. The FY25 executive budget is the first one I've had the privilege to lead from start to finish. The work has been taken up with joy, a commitment to community-oriented processes, and a genuine desire to invest in policies and programs that meet the biggest needs for the most people. When you look at the core work we do as your government, it is about caring for those in our community who are the most vulnerable. Continuing to create and resource this critical safety net that supports those who need it most, directed the investments in my proposed $3.96 billion fiscal year 25 executive budget, which also helps us to be the Multnomah County we need most at this moment. Our county is built as much by the community members who call Multnomah County home as it is for them, which is why this budget also looks at how we can be an inclusive, equitable, thoughtful partner. Hearing from you is part of that commitment, and I'm so glad you're here tonight to share your voice. Joining me as well is the full Multnomah County Board of Commissioners, except for Commissioner Beeson, who is unable to be here tonight due to a family emergency. He will watch a recording of this session as soon as he's able to. But I do want to invite each of my commissioners to introduce themselves, and I'll start with Commissioner Sharon Myron.
Good evening. I'm Sharon Myron. I am the Commissioner for District 1, that is all of the county west of the Willamette River, also inner southeast, and I am really delighted to be here this evening, and I'm so glad to see so many of you, and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Julia Brim-Edwards.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you here. I'm Julia Brim-Edwards. I'm the Commissioner from District 3, which is sort of mid to outer southeast Portland and a little bit of northeast, and I'm just the district west of here, and I'm going to hand it over to the Commissioner whose district this is.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm Lori Stegman, Multnomah County Commissioner for your district that you're in right now, District 4. Best district, right? This is the best turnout. I always love being here. I always feel such a sense of community when I'm here with you all, and so it's great to be here. I proudly represent part of Southeast Portland, all of Gresham, Fairview, Troutdale, Wood Village, Corbett, and the unincorporated areas. Thank you so much for allowing us to hear what's on your mind tonight.
Thank you. For anyone who's here tonight who's new to our process, I want to be clear that tonight's hearing will function very similarly to our board meetings in that our community, this is the time for community to give testimony, for the board to be able to listen, so we don't engage in dialogue at this time during these meetings. This is really to ensure that everyone is able to provide their important input in as safe and neutral a place as possible. And we really appreciate everybody being here tonight as part of this process. I would now like to welcome Marcus Monday, there you are, Marcus, to the stage. The Executive Director of Coalitions of Community of Color, to give a warm welcome.
All right. Thank you, Chair Baker Peterson. Thank you, Commissioners. Good to see everybody here tonight. I just wanted to welcome everybody. We're the coalition. I'm the Executive Director of the Coalition of Communities of Color. We're a 19-member culturally specific alliance of culturally specific nonprofits, many of whom are in the room tonight. I've seen representatives from Milagro, Unite Oregon, ERCO, Latino Network, Urban League. Those are all our members, and many, many more. And we are longtime partners with the county in any number of endeavors, from environmental justice to safety to housing, whatever. So we view the county as a good partner, and we are very happy to again be kicking off this real life on the ground budget session with them. What I would like to urge everybody in the room tonight, though, is to be honest, be candid, be passionate, and direct, because these commissioners are listening to what you say. I'm told over and over by the elected officials that I meet that when the people come out and tell them face to face what's on their mind, they really do listen. The budget is not perfectly cooked, so some of the things you say tonight will sway these commissioners on the issues that are important to you. So I urge you to be direct, be honest, and let them know what's on your mind. I had a whole bunch of other stuff to say here, but I just want to say thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for your testimony in advance. And again, they're going to listen. You're going to say important things. Son and successful families. You're going to say early childhood. You're going to say housing. You're going to say safety. Make sure they listen to you. So thank you, Chair Vega-Peterson. I'll kick it back to you.
Thank you so much, Marcus. We truly appreciate the partnership of CCC and all of your member organizations. Now I'm going to turn it over to our board clerk, Marina, who will provide a brief overview of the written testimony submitted prior to this hearing and talk through the logistics of the meeting before calling for testimony. Marina, take it away.
Thank you, Chair. Today we have 71 people signed up to testify. As of 5:30 p.m., we received 24 written testimony forms, all of which I have shared with each board member and their staff. I will call 4 people at a time. When I call your name, come up and have a seat at the presenter table. Please testify in the order you are called and speak directly into the microphone. Public testimony is limited to 2 minutes per person. I'll set a timer when you begin speaking. When the timer goes off, please wrap up your sentence. Written testimony on the county budget can be submitted beyond this public hearing by going to mulco.us/budget-feedback or by emailing me at boardclerk@mulco.us. I will begin calling testimony right now. So we have Barbara Hernandez, Myrene Chirinos, and Damaris Zuniga Martinez. Please come forward. And then if an interpreter can come forward too, please, for Spanish. Barbara Hernandez, Myrene Chirinos, Damaris Zuniga Martinez.
Pasar al podio.
You can, for the interpreter, you can use a microphone.
Adelante. Gracias. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Sí.
Sí.
Mi nombre es Myrene Chirinos, estoy en representación de las familias venezolanas migrantes en busca de asilo.
My name is Millena. Tu apellido, por favor. Myrene. And I am here representing Venezuelan families.
Okay, agradeciendo la oportunidad de poder contar mi historia en este momento al condado, viendo que tienen intención de realmente hacernos parte de esta comunidad.
And I am really thankful for the opportunity of being here to represent my community. I'd like to highlight the importance and the will of our families to become full parts of this community.
Mi historia, al igual que la de muchas familias venezolanas removidas de su lugar de origen por causa de la corrupción, violencia y muchas irregularidades que suceden en nuestros países.
My story, just as many other stories from people coming here to this country, has the background, unfortunate, of violence, displacement, and many other pressures that we had to face.
Nos enfrentamos ahora al no saber qué hacer todos los días, al pensar qué va a pasar con nosotros cuando llega la noche.
we are facing the situation of not knowing what to do on a day-to-day basis, not where to direct our strengths, and not knowing what will be of our lives as nighttime comes in.
Ahora mismo las familias que yo represento estamos en un lugar que es una clínica de recuperación y es bastante difícil porque las personas que organizan allí hacen un esfuerzo muy grande para lograr que no haya violencia para con nosotros.
As of right now, we are hosts at a recovery home. This is a really difficult situation because the staff is doing everything in their power to avoid violence or aggressions against ourselves and the family I represent.
No tiene muchos recursos ya que es difícil integrar a una familia común en un lugar donde hay personas que son drogadictas, que se están recuperando de salud mental y pues hemos tenido muchísimos episodios de gente con fentanilo, gente desnuda, gente inapropiada con drogas que no deben usarse y es bastante difícil para nosotros como familia permanecer en esos lugares, sin embargo no tenemos a dónde ir.
And for us, it has been difficulty. There's several difficulties, starting with the lack of resources, especially in a group home where there's the issues of recovery. We face not only the aggression, but also people who are in the process of recovery. You would see people who are stark naked, walking around, not keeping hours, people recovering from fentanyl, other drugs. And so these are things, and our family is exposed to things that you would never ever imagine. At the same time that we are thankful of having this place.
Por eso le venimos acá a pedir al condado, a solicitarle, nos ayude y nos haga parte de esta comunidad que cuando llegamos se portó muy amable y de brazos extendidos con nosotros.
We are therefore here to ask and petition the county that in the same way that upon arrival we arrive in this community, in this society, when we will receive with open arms, we are asking here for the help of the county to get us established.
Solo somos familias que buscamos una oportunidad, igual que todas las familias queremos proteger a nuestros hijos y tenemos fe de que ustedes nos puedan brindar la oportunidad de demostrar que somos buenas personas.
And we are here on behalf of these families that, just like any other family, we're trying to protect our youth, our children, and to raise them to the best of our ability. Thank you so much, and we're requesting your help, of course.
Thank you. Gracias.
Gracias. Damaris Zuliaga will speak.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Damaris Zuliaga, vengo en representación de todos los migrantes que venimos a buscar asilo a este país.
Good afternoon, my name is Damaris Zuliaga. I am here in representation of all the migrants that come in seeking a better life in this country.
Le agradezco a todas ustedes por estar aquí, a todas las personas que nos vinieron a escuchar, todas las historias que venimos pasando todos nosotros.
I am thankful for all the people that showed up here to listen to all of the stories that we have to share about everything that we had to encounter on our path.
Yo vengo en representación de todas las personas que vivimos en un hotel que se paga diario, el cual nos paga una organización y no tiene recursos, lo cual todos los días nos están echando del hotel.
I am here in representation of an organization that, in representation of many families that are there living in a hotel that needs to be paid every single night. And we are counting with the help of an organization that is doing everything they can in their power to help us, but that is running out of resources. We are faced with a situation that we are being asked to leave the place every single night.
Lo cual vivimos todos los días con miedo de que en verdad ya nos echen a la calle porque tenemos niños pequeños. Yo actualmente estoy embarazada en situación de riesgo y temo por mi embarazo y por mis hijos de quedar en la calle sin un lugar al cual decir que es un hogar.
And we have to face this unfortunate situation every single night. We are in a lot of fear that this threats will be made actual, and that we and our children are going to be placed in the street. At the present moment, I am pregnant, I'm expecting, and I'm having a risky pregnancy, and therefore, it's very hard to visualize that we will be ended up on the streets any night.
Y sé que al igual que yo, todas las personas que vivimos en ese lugar, que somos migrantes, están pasando la misma situación, porque todos los días nos sentamos a hablar qué va a ser de nosotros el día de mañana.
And I know that this experience is being experienced just the same by all the other migrant families, because every day we sit together and talk about these events, these issues, and our fears that this could happen at any moment.
Por eso he venido a pedirles el apoyo de ustedes, del condado, que por favor nos ayuden para nosotros tener un lugar estable al cual llamarle hogar y darle una estabilidad a nuestros hijos, que venimos para acá con esa meta.
And therefore I'm here to ask on our behalf of all the families your assistance, so that we can find a home, a true home, a stable home where we can raise our children, give them a place of stability, the one that we ran away from, and the main reason of why we embarked on this trip to end up here, trying to find stability and a better future for our families.
Porque la meta de todos nosotros como padres es darle un bienestar a todos nuestros hijos y darles un mejor porvenir, y no sabemos qué va a ser de nosotros el día de mañana. Gracias.
Because our goal as any other parent is to give our families the best and most stable future. We don't know what will be of us. Thank you.
Gracias.
No te escucho, acércate.
Mi nombre es Bárbara. Yo vengo en representación de todos los adolescentes que hemos estado aquí y hemos pasado por situaciones muy difíciles en los Estados Unidos.
My name is Barbara. I'm here in representation of all the teens and adolescents that arrive here, and that we have gone through so many things that have happened to us in arriving to this country.
Cuando llegué aquí, dormí en la calle.
When I arrived here, I had to sleep on the street.
Y fue difícil. Llegué con mi familia aquí a los Estados Unidos en noviembre del año pasado, con mi mamá y mis hermanos de 7 y 9 años.
And it has been really difficult. We arrived here in this country back in November, along with my mother and then my siblings 7 and 9.
Cuando llegamos aquí conocimos a Kellyanne y Natalie Leiner, y ellas nos ayudaron en su casa por muchos meses. Esos meses que estuvimos ahí, llegaron muchas personas con bebés, niños que no tenían dónde estar, y los refugios estaban muy llenos y no tenían lugar seguro donde estar.
Sí, perdona, no escuché el nombre de la organización. ¿Cuál? Kellyanne y Natalie. So when we arrived here, we were hosted by Kellyanne and Natalie. But at the same time, as time went on, there were many other families arriving, and they were coming with babies, and children, other people trying to seek refuge.
Las personas no tenían como recursos para pagar algo, un arriendo o una casa. Llegué aquí y fue muy difícil para mí, para mi familia estar aquí, porque en muchas ocasiones no teníamos dónde dormir, para comer y muchas cosas.
And like many others, we arrived here without a lot of resources. Me and my family had to face these really difficult situations where we had no money for food, nowhere, not even a place to sleep.
Ahora estoy en un refugio y es muy bien. Ahorita estoy estudiando en Kellogg y Quería hablarles sobre los niños que no tienen hogar y están estudiando.
And as of now, we are doing better. I am in a shelter. And she earlier mentioned that most of the shelters were full. So she said, I am now in a shelter, I'm doing good, but I also wanted to tell you about all the other kids who are in these conditions, but going to school.
Es muy difícil estar estudiando y que nos tengamos que mudar a otro lugar porque es algo muy estresante para nosotros porque tenemos que cambiar de escuela y no tenemos como un lugar seguro y tenemos que hacer todo desde el principio y es bueno tener un lugar donde estar para no hacer esto siempre porque siempre hay que estar cambiando de lugar porque no tenemos dónde estar.
So I wanted to share with you how difficult it is for us trying to be in a certain place and then all of a sudden having to move to another school for us trying to study while getting adapted. And so all of a sudden you have to move, there's a lot of stress. You will have to change school districts and start from the beginning once again.
Muchas gracias y espero nos puedan ayudar.
Thank you so much, and we're hoping that you'll be able to help us.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Frayana Kumaray.
Buenas tardes, Frayana Akumaray. My name is Frayana Akumaray.
Escuchando todas las historias, verdad que es bastante emotivo ver las situaciones por cada uno, por cada uno que pasa.
So listening to all of these stories, I realized that there's many motives and many ways of expressing all of the situations that we have gone through.
En el transcurso de los últimos meses,
over these last few months,
la población del estado de Oregon ha estado recibiendo distintos, ¿verdad? Y muchísimos emigrantes que han llegado acá en los refugios, escuelas, iglesias, pueblos, ciudades.
And over the last few months, as I was saying, the population of Oregon, the state itself, has been receiving a lot of diverse people and many people, a multitude of people seeking refuge in schools, shelters, any place where they could be hosted.
Sabemos que es difícil, ¿verdad? Porque no es uno, ni dos, ni tres familias, son cientos de familias, pero
we know this is difficult because it is not one, two, but it's in fact hundreds of families.
Pero todos tienen, independientemente de la situación, todos tienen un mismo porvenir, que es el derecho a la vivienda, el derecho a una estabilidad.
But independently of their own conditions, they are all seeking for the same future. It's the right of having a place to live, a place of shelter, and the place of doing well, doing better.
Solo queremos la inclusión y la participación activa en la vida social y económica del Estado.
All we're asking is for inclusion and active participation in the social and economic life of the state.
Mientras nos integramos a lograr las integraciones de una vida social, que no es nada fácil para nosotros como latinos que no tenemos mucho del conocimiento del nuevo idioma.
And while we fight for adapting and integrating in the social milieu of Oregon, which is not easy even with the Latinos in the state, because we have to get acculturated, we have to improve with the language that is unknown to us.
Por ende, necesitamos el apoyo de los entes gubernamentales y comunidades activas en el proyecto para los refugiados.
And therefore, this is why we need the support of government entities and active communities in being able to obtain the help for refugee communities.
Somos un gran número de familias con niños, abuelos, personas discapacitadas que en la actualidad estamos sin un hogar estable.
¿En la actualidad están en dónde, perdón?
En la actualidad estamos sin un hogar estable.
And we are a great number of children, adults, grandparents, and in the present moment, at the present moment, we do not have any stability in our housing.
Algunos duermen en la calle y es difícil, pues solo queremos sentir la inclusión en esta comunidad activa y agradecerles a todos los presentes por escuchar nuestras historias y que solo queremos cambiar el futuro de nosotros, de nuestros hijos.
Many sleep on the street, and we are searching. The most important thing for us is to find the permanence of stable housing, and we are going through a lot of problems with finding these things, which is what we came to fight for and to achieve. Se nos está acabando el tiempo.
Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you
Gracias.
so much.
Thank
Next
you.
we have,
One second, Marina. So it's wonderful we have so many people here tonight. We are at capacity for the room, which means that we might have some people coming in who have signed up to testify or who want to testify who aren't able to come into the room, so we're keeping an eye on that. But if you or your panel is done speaking, if you're able to step outside, that might be helpful, or we just want to make sure that everyone who comes in tonight and intends to testify is able to come in and access this. So we're going to be managing, trying to bring people in as their name is called, but also if you're able to leave when you're done, that might be helpful just because it will help us bring some more people in. So we just want to keep an eye on that. Okay, go ahead, Marina, thank you.
the next group is Chiquinquira Hernandez, Emily Diaz, and Diana Albaran. And if we could just have the Spanish speaker, Spanish interpreter, please. Thank you.
Por favor, Chiquinquira.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Chiquinquira Hernández.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Chiquinquira Hernández.
Go ahead.
Adelante.
Primero que nada, muchas gracias por permitir que estemos aquí en este lugar.
First of all, thank you for permitting us to be here in this place.
Y podemos contar cada uno de nosotras de la historia que tenemos.
And so that we can share with you all of our personal stories.
Bueno.
Well.
Ay, Dios, muy nerviosa.
I'm really nervous.
Es bien.
Bueno, a mí también me tocó duro. Llegué en el aeropuerto.
It was really hard for me as well, just like everybody else. Just upon arriving at the airport.
Gracias a Dios tuve la oportunidad de conocer personas maravillosas que me brindaron.
And thank to God, I was able to meet some wonderful people who helped me a lot.
Me brindaron estar en un lugar, pero igualmente no es un lugar estable.
And allowed me to stay at a place, however, this is not a permanent place to be.
Y con las personas que vivo me doy de cuenta porque, yo vivo ahí y me doy cuenta realmente la cantidad de personas que llegan diariamente, cómo suena ese celular de todas las personas que llaman durmiendo en la calle, en el aeropuerto, en los carros.
And I'm living there. I know it's not, this is not a permanent situation, but I'm also seeing how difficult it is. You know, the cell phone never stops ringing. There's people just arriving. There's calls from the airport, calls from the street, calls from people in their cars, trying to seek a place to stay.
Por eso estamos aquí todos reunidos a pedirle ayuda.
And therefore, we are here all together trying to ask for your help.
A ver si nos pueden ayudar con refugio o hogar a largo plazo.
And see if there may be some help for finding a place at a shelter, or even better, maybe some permanent housing.
Se lo vamos a agradecer de corazón, ya que hay niños.
And we will be so eternally thankful because there's a lot of children.
Y bueno, por eso venimos a pedir que por favor nos ayuden.
And therefore, we're here to ask for your help. And
muchas gracias.
To please ask for your help, and thank you very much.
Gracias.
Good afternoon, my name is Emily Diaz.
Gracias a todos por escucharnos.
Thanks to all for the opportunity of listening to us.
Vengo en representación de la comunidad de inmigrantes latina.
I am here in representation of the Latino immigrant community.
Soy una de las familias quien cruzó 9 países para llegar hasta acá.
I am one of many families who got across 9 different countries in order to be here.
Y por tanto venimos a solicitar el apoyo del condado de Monoma.
And therefore we are here to request the support of Multnomah County.
Para que los derechos como migrantes no sean vulnerados.
So that the rights of migrants are not vulnerable.
A nosotros, a nuestra familia, para la educación, la seguridad de una vivienda.
And so that we and our children are considered and allowed to have the security both of education and housing.
Ya que somos unas familias vulnerables de todo el proceso que hemos pasado para llegar hasta acá.
Since we are families that are vulnerable due to all of the processes that we had to endure in our path all the way in arriving here.
Y poder darle una seguridad a nuestros hijos, ya que nuestros hijos todos los días nos preguntan a nosotros una pregunta que no sabemos responderle acerca de cuándo vamos a tener un hogar.
And also so that we may be able to grant or to give our children the answer that they ask us every single night, which is when we'll be able to have a home, a permanent home.
Y respetuosamente le pedimos que nos incluyan y solicitamos la ayuda para nuestra familia, ya que venimos también a generar actividad económica.
And respectfully, we'd like to ask for your help, because even if we are here as immigrants, we are here also to incentivize the workforce of the state.
Lo siento. Muchas gracias por escucharnos y esperamos el apoyo de parte de ustedes. Y bueno, muchas gracias al colectivo de la señora Natalie, Ashley y Kelly, quienes nos han estado apoyando sin ningún beneficio de parte de nosotros, porque son un colectivo que se preocupa por la comunidad de inmigrantes, ya que llegamos aquí sin nada.
And I want to thank you for your time, for listening to us, but I also like to extend an appreciation of the collective that has helped us, especially to Natalie, Angeli, and Kelly, who had been bringing their support to the immigrant community, to the migrant community, and with with whose help we wouldn't be able to basically be here. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Diana Albarrán, tengo 21 años, vengo de Venezuela.
Good afternoon. My name is Diana Parran. I'm 21 and I come from Venezuela.
Tengo un hijo de 4 años, es asmático, ahorita lo tengo enfermo.
I have a child who's 4 and who suffers from asthma.
Y lo tengo enfermo.
And he's ill right now.
Él es alérgico al frío.
He's allergic to the cold weather. To the cold.
Sus pulmones nunca se desarrollaron bien.
His lungs never developed appropriately.
Y yo de corazón vengo a pedirle ayuda para no quedarnos en la calle.
And from the depths of my heart, I'm here to beg for your help so that we don't end up on the streets.
Todos los días uno vive esa zozobra, que lo van a sacar, que no tenemos donde dormir.
Every day, we just have this tremendous anxiety that we are going to be evicted, that we won't have a place to sleep.
Y yo le pido de corazón que por favor nos ayuden.
And I'm asking you from the depths of my heart, please help us.
Yo no le pido algo para siempre, pero si de corazón nos pueden ayudar para no quedarnos en la calle, se los agradecería.
And we are not asking for an unlimited amount of help. All we're asking for is that we don't end up on the street. I would be enormously thankful if you could do that.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Gracias. Gracias.
Next, we have Olegario Estrada, Griselda Duarte, and Janet Bibiano.
Buenas tardes.
Hola, Presidenta Vega Peterson y comisionados del Condado de Multnomah. Mi nombre es Olegario Estrada.
Hello, Chair Vega Peterson and commissioners of Multnomah County. My name is Olegario Estrada.
Estoy aquí para abogar por la financiación total del programa de intervención temprana de la iniciativa de curación comunitaria.
And I'm here to advocate for the full financing of the early intervention program of the Community Healing Initiative.
También conocido como CHAI Intervención Temprana.
Also known as the Child Early Intervention.
Yo soy un padre de familia de 3 hijos.
I am the father of 3 children.
He vivido en el condado de Multnomah por 14 años.
I have lived in the county of Multnomah for 14 years.
Mi hijo entró en el programa de CHAI Intervención Temprana por una referencia que recibimos del condado.
My son started in the CHAI Intervention Program through a reference that we received from the county.
Y me dieron la información de la referencia del programa con Latino Network en el año 2019.
And I received the reference to the program offered by Latino Network in the year 2019.
Por medio del programa recibí conexiones con un padre de abogacía de la organización.
Through this program, I received connections. I made connections with the father that was doing advocacy on behalf of the organization.
Que me ayudaron a entender el proceso por el que estaba pasando mi hijo.
Who helped me understand the process that my son was going through.
Él recibió su contacto con su mentor y por medio de la organización Latino Network, que me hizo referencias para las clases de padres.
And he started receiving programs through contact with his mentor and through the organization Latino Network, who made references to the Parents Program.
Como programa Padres Ayudando a Padres,
And through the program Parents, Helping Other Parents,
en el cual participo hasta la fecha de hoy.
of which I am a member, I participate up until the date.
Aprendiendo talleres educacionales para padres,
I have learned in workshops, educational workshops for parents,
y liderazgo participaron en el programa de Academia de Líderes.
as well as leadership skills through participation in the Leadership Academy,
Colegio de Padres,
the Parents University or College,
y con el programa CHAI participé en el entrenamiento de Raising Children with Pride.
and then through the CHAI program, I participated in the training Raising Children with Pride.
Y mis hijos han participado en los programas para jóvenes de Teen Night, Joven Noble y actividades recreativas y culturales con la organización Latino Network.
And my children have participated in the program for youth called Teen Nights, Noble Youth, and other recreational and cultural activities through the organization Latino Network.
Es importante tener este programa de CHAI EI para la prevención
It is important to have this program of CHAI EI for prevention,
y pueda seguir ayudando a los jóvenes y a las familias para salir adelante.
so that we may be able to help youth and the families to be able to move forward.
Le pedimos que financie completamente el programa de intervención temprana
We're asking you to fully fund the program, the early intervention program,
restaurar los 675,000 completos en fondos para el programa de intervención temprana.
and the restoration of the 675K in full for the preservation of the program.
Muchas gracias por escucharme.
Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Griselda Duarte.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Griselda Duarte.
Presento aquí para pedirles que mantengan la inversión del programa CHAI.
And I'm here to ask for the full, for maintaining the program CHAI in full.
Soy una madre soltera,
I'm a single mother,
proveedora de 7 hijos.
and I am the full provider of 7 children.
Tuve una pérdida de uno de mis hijos
I had the loss of one of my children
por haberse involucrado en pandillas,
due to having
previos.
been involved in gangs.
He estado trabajando con la organización Latino Network desde el 2013
And I have been working with the organization Latino Network since 2013
por una referencia de la Corte Juvenil
through a reference made by the juvenile court,
donde recibí todo apoyo de organización cuando tuve mi pérdida.
where I received all of the organizational support when I had my loss.
Tuve apoyo emocional y con ayuda, asistencia para el funeral de mi hijo. No me sentía sola, aún con el dolor que estaba pasando.
And I had all sorts of support, including emotional support, support for the funeral, and I was not feeling alone despite the terrible loss that I was going through.
Continuó de la mano de la organización ayudándome, no me han dejado sola,
And I keep
no me soltaron.
holding the hand of the organization. They never left me alone. They never let me go.
Y eso me ha ayudado a seguir adelante.
And this has helped me endure and move forward.
Me fui involucrando en clases de padres que me han ayudado y me han apoyado a mis hijos a tratar de prevenir que caigan en malas compañías.
And I kept working really closely with the organization so that we could get trained and then to work with my children to avoid the possibility of that they too would fall into the hands of these groups.
Y tomaran malas decisiones.
And avoiding taking or making bad decisions.
Mi hijo menor de la edad de 14
My youngest one, who is 14,
cometió un delito menor
he committed a minor crime.
Por lo cual recibí una referencia para el programa CHAI.
For which I received a reference to the CHAI program.
En el cual he recibido el apoyo de los mentores de lo que me han ayudado.
And through which I received the assistance of the mentors who have helped me.
Y toman con mentores y consejeros.
And then we have been working with mentors and counselors.
Para mi hijo recibí
for my child.
Referencia.
I received
consejería, renta.
And then I also received not only the reference but assistance for rent. Terminé.
Y me ayudaron a tomar todo de ayuda de consejería y gracias a todas esas apoyos, mis hijos están bien y les pido de todo corazón que sigan ayudando a todos los jóvenes que necesitan de ustedes y de nosotros que somos los padres. Con la ayuda de que no quiten la ayuda, que sigan refinanciando.
And I'd like to ask.
Por la cantidad que dijo aquí el
Gracias. Well, translate that and then we can.
Yes, I'll make a summary.
Mhm.
She asked for the preservation of the funds in full, as was mentioned by the first speaker, and if she mentioned the benefits for her family, the support, economic support in every way, and then just emotionally thanking for all of what has been received as the benefit for her family and many others in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vega Peterson y comisionados. Mi nombre es Janet Viviano.
Hello, good afternoon, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. My name is Janet Viviano.
Y estoy aquí para abogar por la financiación total del programa de intervención temprana de la iniciativa de curación comunitaria.
And I am here to ask for the full funding for the program, for the early intervention program.
También conocido como CHAI Intervención Temprana. Yo, Janet.
For the program called, known as CHAI Early Intervention.
Yo, Janet, soy madre de familia de 3 hijos. Trabajadora y proveedora de mi hogar.
I am the mother of 3 children. I am the full provider of everyone and everything in my home.
He vivido en el condado de Multnomah por más de 20 años.
I have lived in Multnomah County for over 20 years.
Mi hijo entró en el programa CHAI Intervención Temprana el año pasado 2023.
My son started in the CHAI Early Intervention Program last year in 2023.
Por un delito menor causado por violencia en la escuela.
Due to a minor infraction or due to caused by violence in the schools.
Recibiendo una llamada de referencia del programa Latino Negro en este año.
And he received a call to refer or a reference to the Latino Network program in this year.
Mi hijo tuvo mentoría del programa, habló con sus mentores de su caso para resolver su problema.
My son had the expert mentorship of the mentors in the program to be able to resolve his dilemma, his problem.
Hicieron actividades de verano en el programa SHINE. Participó en cursos Joven Noble, recibió información del deporte de fútbol que practica.
And through the CHI program, the summer program, he was involved in activities during the summertime. He also participated in the Noble Youth program.
Hicieron actividades recreativas y paseo de la comunidad.
And they also took part on many creative activities in the community.
También participa en el programa Teen-I.
They also participated in the program Teen-I.
Nos conectaron para el programa FUSE, Familias Unidas y Empoderadas.
And then they connected us to the program Youth, Empowered and Active Families.
Que nos ayudó a tener una mejor relación y comunicación entre madre e hijo.
Which allowed better communication between mother and child.
Ayudando a conectar y relacionarse con más personas en la escuela.
And helping him in developing more or better relations in the school.
Y realizó metas que ayudan a su conducta positiva y a manejar mejor sus emociones.
And he also was helped to in reaching better goals in terms of behavior and communication, social communication.
Yo como madre participo en el programa de Padres Ayudando a Padres y participando en el taller CHI, la hora del remiendo, taller de costura con madres del mismo programa.
And I am in the parents group with CHI, and I also participate in the sewing program, parents sewing with each others.
Para mí es muy importante el programa de CHI porque nosotros recibimos el apoyo moral y emocional con familias dando una segunda oportunidad.
For us, it's really important to continue being in these programs because we receive a lot of support among peers and parents.
Gracias.
Gracias, gracias. Ya llegamos.
Next, we have Betis Olivio, David Pagan Garrido, and Natalie Lerner.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Hola a todos, yo soy Bete Olivo.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bete Olivo.
Formo parte de la comunidad inmigrante
I'm part of the immigrant community,
y quiero darle las gracias a ustedes
and I want to express my gratitude to all of you
por la oportunidad de ofrecernos este espacio.
for the opportunity to extending to us this step.
Siento que no estamos solos
I feel that we're not alone,
y por eso decidí venir
and that's the reason why I decided to come,
para elevar mi voz
to be able to elevate my voice
en pro de una mejor calidad de vida para el inmigrante.
in pro towards a raising the standards for a higher quality of life for an immigrant.
Estoy aquí en esta oportunidad
I am here in this opportunity
para pedirles el apoyo
to ask you for your support
como persona y como familia, como cabeza de casa,
as a person, as family, and as a head of the household,
para una vivienda a largo plazo, no sé, por un tiempo que yo pueda poder arreglar mis papeles para trabajar.
and having a long-term housing, or at least enough time so that way I can sort out my immigration documents, and then that way I can be able to work.
Deseo que me den la oportunidad de trabajar en este país,
I wish that you can give me the opportunity or allowing me to be able to work in this country,
ya que soy profesional
given that I'm a professional
y tengo el deseo de superarme
and I have the desire of advancing,
y también mi familia.
and also for my family.
Bueno, no voy a hablar mucho
Okay, well, I won't be saying much more
porque lo que vine a decir fue que nos presten su apoyo y colaboración
because what I want to say is basically for you to be able to provide your support and collaboration
para una vivienda que nos permita tener una estabilidad y estar mejor.
for housing and to be able to have stability and being able to have a better well-being.
Nuevamente quiero darle las gracias por la oportunidad que nos ofrecen en este espacio.
Once again, I want to express my gratitude that you're providing us in this space.
Y bueno, eso es todo.
And that will be all.
Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es David Peña Garrido, me encuentro con mi hija Melody Peña Gutiérrez, nacionalidad peruana y nacionalidad venezolana.
Hello, good evening. My name is David Peña.
Melody Gutiérrez, Peña Garrido.
My name is David Peña, and I'm here with my daughter Melody Peña Gutierrez, both representing Peruvian citizenship and Colombian citizenship.
Estoy aquí, al igual que todas las familias inmigrantes, buscando una calidad de vida, ya que tengo una niña de 4 años.
I'm here representing as well all the immigrant communities, all the families here present, given that, well, now we have a daughter and she's 4 years of age.
Vengo a hablar no específicamente de mí, sino por todos los emigrantes, porque somos uno solo, el ser humano es uno solo, no importa la nacionalidad.
And I'm here speaking on behalf of not just about myself, but talking about all the immigrants, because we are all humans, and all human beings are one, independent of nationality.
Y no vengo como que a exigir, vine a este país por un motivo, salir adelante por lo que tengo como hija, ya que en mi país no se puede salir adelante, luché para llegar aquí.
And I'm not here to make any demands, but I'm just here to have myself a better quality of life, considering that I also have a daughter, and unfortunately in my country I'm not able to get ahead, unfortunately.
Una cosa que nos tiene atado a todos los emigrantes que recién llegamos, que no podemos trabajar porque no tenemos un permiso de trabajo, no queremos ser carga para el Estado, pero nos toca pedir un apoyo al condado.
And one of the things that have caused all the immigrants to have a huge struggle is being able to work. Considering that when we come here, we don't have a work permit, and we don't want to be a burden to the government, but we just are requesting help from the county.
Y quiero darle las gracias a todos ustedes que están acá en esta sala, en esta reunión de prensa, por dedicarnos un minuto de nuestras cosas que hemos pasado durante un viaje, que todos tenemos un viaje muy mal, pero gracias a Dios estamos aquí en Latinoamérica, o en América, como se puede decir, en los Estados Unidos. le doy las gracias, de verdad que muchas gracias por escucharme. Y quiero...
And I want to express my gratitude to everybody here, including the media, for taking a moment to be able to hear us, given that we have all gone through lengthy journeys. Our trips, unfortunately, haven't been so good, actually quite bad. And thank you for the opportunity of being here in Latin America, or, well, I guess America, United States. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Quiero darle las gracias a cada uno de ustedes, ¿verdad que sí? Y también darle las gracias a la organización de colectivos de asilo. Siempre está la señorita Natalie, la señorita Lisa y la señorita Kelly. Siempre ha estado con nosotros, de verdad que ellos nos han apoyado en lo poco o en lo mucho que hemos recibido aquí. Organización de asilo, organización de colectivos de asilo.
Yasin. And I want to express my gratitude to the organization Yasin. And first off, I would like to especially mention to Ms. Natalie, Ms. Lisa, and Ms. Kelly, who have always been there and supporting us.
Gracias.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Natalie Lerner, and I'm an organizer with the Asylum Seekers Solidarity Collective. And I'm here to support DCHS program offer that would create a newcomer pilot, as well as to express my support of the Joint Office program offers to create more family shelter, as well as immigrant-specific youth shelter beds. I first want to thank Multnomah County for stepping in over these past few months to support so many asylum-seeking families who otherwise would be sleeping on the streets in our county. And I also want to thank the chair for including these program offers in her proposed budget, because they are essential services for families who live in our community. Over this past year, we as a collective have accompanied hundreds of asylum seekers, most of them families with children, and we see each of them arrive without housing and wait between 3 and 6 months to access even emergency sheltering. In 2006, the county's Bill of Rights for Children mentioned emergent sheltering, or having a roof over one's head, as a right that all children in our county should be able to access. These program offers, both for DCHS and the Joint Office, would be a step toward the county realizing the reality of no children sleeping outside, having to sleep in a car, having to sleep in the airport, or in other spaces that are not fit for human habitation. We're really grateful for the county's work on this issue, and we see this money as money that must be used on emergency sheltering so that when families arrive here on their first day, or when they call 211 after living here for years, they can get into shelter right away. I also want to say while I'm here that we support all moves by the county to make all services more accessible to immigrant communities so that all people can have shelter. And particularly we would support Preschool for All, which has been a lifesaver for this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ana Laura Fuente, Mercedes Elizadale, and LaFonda Grant.
Hey, good evening.
Hello, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. My name is Mercedes Elizalde, and I'm the Director of Advocacy at Latino Network. I'm here today for a couple of things, but first I want to start with some thank yous. One, thank you so much, Chair, for putting the Family Resource Navigators and the funding for the newcomer shelter in your proposed budget. These are amazing investments, and we really appreciate them being included. We hope going forward that there can be some direction to the departments to ensure that these programs have adequate access to SHS funding for rent assistance, permanent housing, and connections to other county-funded programs like food, transportation, utility assistance. And now for the ask. Please don't give up on upstream investments for youth. CHI and CHI Early Intervention are critically needed supports for youth who are impacted by law enforcement and the legal system. Thank you for, Chair, for maintaining the investment in CHI, but CHI early intervention is different. The proposed cut to CHI early intervention is deeply flawed. The biggest difference between CHI and CHI early intervention is that CHI is post-conviction and early intervention is at first point of contact with law enforcement. With the current proposal, you would see this early intervention program cut by 65% and then next year dissolved completely into the CHI program, where you wouldn't even be able to see what kind of prevention we're doing anymore. And it would really be a policy choice saying that we are willing to wait until things get worse before we do anything about it. As you have heard, CHI EI is a pathway to so many positive experiences for youth and the families who are able to be connected with it. It really pulls people off the unfortunate circumstances they have fallen into and pulls them back into places where they can get parenting skills, meet with other parents who've been through the same thing that they have, give youth an opportunity to see themselves differently and see their community differently, and make repairs for their own heart and for the things that have happened in their lives. The goal should be to move continually further upstream and not waiting until the legal system creates permanent scars on our youth and families. House Bill 4002 will bring harsh consequences for youth while also leaving them out of the deflection programs. It has been made very clear that the deflection programs associated with 4002 are for adults with diagnosable substance use disorders, not for youth, not for children, and not for their families. CHI early intervention is the only option we have on the table right now to make sure we're treating our children like children, giving them second chances. They are our future and we must act accordingly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Is this on? Yeah.
Yes.
Good evening, Chair and the Commissioners and all attendees. My name is LaFonda Grant, and I'm excited to share with you the transformation impact the Mother's Trust Fund has impacted in my life. The support from the Mother's Trust Fund has been instrumental, empowering, and it has empowered me to initiate a positive change in my economic security. This fund has been a beacon of hope for me, aiding and breaking the cycle of debt that I have found myself trapped in. The Mother's Trust Fund provided me with the means to invest in myself and my family by establishing an emergency fund, significantly reducing my school debt burden, and relieving me of my credit card debt that I had due to COVID. The assistance from the Mother's Trust Fund has enabled me to make sustainable changes in my life, boosting my inner self-esteem and providing me with the confidence and strive for more. I no longer live in constant fear of financial instability or wage garnishment. And with the economic change, Mother's Trust Fund has given me a space to breathe a little bit easier. Also, it has also allowed me to live with dignity. Thanks to the support and opportunities created by the Mother's Trust Fund, now I am the Family Resource Navigator with Women's First. I can give back to my community with pride. The transformation and the experience with the support of the Mother's Trust Fund is a testament to the power of perseverance. I say it wrong all the time. Okay. And the impact of community assistance. My journey from financial hardship and to stability hopefully gives hope for other women who looks like me and facing some of life's most difficult challenges. I would like to see the flame of hope for the Mother's Trust Fund to ignite and to continue to burn brightly. Thank you for your consideration and importance of this cause and the significant impact it has on other LaFondas or individuals like me.
Thank you. So thank you, everyone. We have several people that we want to make sure have a chance to speak tonight. So one of the things that we do in our boardroom that we find is really helpful is instead of clapping, go like this, and then we can move forward and make sure everybody can hear everything that's happening.
Okay. Next we have Eddie Bersenes Bibiano, Chris Silvas, Claudia Al Amin, and Nancy Lopez.
Buenas tardes. ¿Quién es primero? Go ahead.
Hello, Chairman Vega Peterson. My name is Eddie Barcena Viviano. I grew up and live here in Rockwood, just a few blocks from here. I am here to share my experience in Chi-I program. The program helped me be a better son, student, friend, and uncle. The program is important because it helped me focus more on school and make better choices. I think it's important for kids my age and in similar shoes to have opportunities to change their life for the better. Please restore the full funding in Chi-I. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hello. Are you ready?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I heard my name last, so I assumed I was going to be last. Thank you very much, all. My name is Nancy Lopez. I am the Policy Director for Centro Cultural. On behalf of Centro Cultural, I am here to share the inspiring stories of the families that have come through our doors. Despite the challenges they face, and these families have shown such remarkable resilience, so I wanted to make sure that you all knew about this. Centro started to see an increase in refugee and asylum seekers since the beginning of November 2023. These families have come through our doors by referrals from partner organizations, DHS, and by word of mouth to our community members. Given the pressing and rapidly escalating situation in our community, Centro, despite its lack of necessary infrastructure, swiftly devised a plan to support these family members that were coming to our doors, that being the refugee and asylum seekers. Centro has used its general funds since November of 2023. To date, we have spent nearly $160,000, which does not include the cost of a case manager and director. At this very moment, we are case managing or hoteling 17 families, and some of those are here in Multnomah County. A larger part of them as well have come from Multnomah County. Centro has even this week approved 2 families to stay in Multnomah County, and will continue to house these families until we see further support for these families. However, as you all know, limited funding is not sustainable for this program, and we cannot stress enough the importance of the need for all of us to come together and really have conversations regarding these community members that have made Oregon their home. We have seen them come from different countries, additionally within the states, arriving to Oregon with very much needed services. So I would request on behalf of our organization and the organizations that are very closely working with these community members to continue to allow us to have conversations with you all about this issue so that we can come to a plan that really does support these families that are coming to Oregon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Chris Silverson. I'm the principal at Wriggler Elementary in Portland Public Schools. You've heard some of the story of immigrant families that have come to Multnomah County in the search for safety and support. Let me tell you another piece of that story, and the reason why we have to find a way to ensure that emergency housing and continued support for them to reach permanent housing is a priority for the county. Wriggler Elementary, unlike schools throughout our district, has seen a rise in enrollment. And that rise in enrollment is about students who have come here with the dream of being a part of the American story. In talking with some of our teachers today, let me just leave you with this one thing. Our 5th grade team has had some of the students whose parents are here today to talk to you about their needs. Tell their immigrant story, and they're writing these really complex stories about the countries they've been through and the places they've seen, their dreams, their hopes. And I really think it's important, if we are a place that believes in civility, we believe in safety and support for folks, unlike places throughout the country that are rejecting this idea. It's important that
when we think about the stories that children are writing, that there not be a line in there that says, and then I got kicked out of the place that I was staying because no one could help me. What I think is a lot more important is that the line in that part of their story be people who I didn't know, people with the power to help me, and now I can call America my home. There are many priorities in this county. There are many priorities and needs for people in this room and outside this window. I hope that for places like Wrigley, where kids come hungry to learn and hungry to be a part of the story, that we can find a way to ensure that people are housed and have the ability to reach permanent housing. On behalf of Wrigley, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for hosting this. My name is Claudia Alameen, and I'm formerly the manager of the Oregon Southwest Washington African Community Development Center. Now I am the managing director of the Somali Oregon Service Center, and I'm here to represent African asylum seekers. And I want to share just one story with you because what has been happening, there's a paradigm where funding was given to help people move into housing, but it was only for 6 months. And there was no plan by Multnomah County to follow up with that afterwards. And so for instance, one gentleman, young man, in the dead of winter, it was freezing out. I found him on the side of the road, sitting on some pilings, just sort of slumped over, and he was trying to make it to what was then called the Welcome Center because he had heard that it was a place where he could stay. And when we got him, because it was obvious he was in really bad shape, he couldn't talk, he was using his phone to text in French. Fortunately, I do speak French. And took him to Providence. He was an emergency. He had to have some very critical care. His throat had closed. That's why he couldn't talk. And so they kept him there on their emergency. Another fortunate thing happened was that the social worker that was working with him had grown up in West Africa and could speak the French, West African French. But he was staying in the hospital because he was still really sick, and we had to find some kind of shelter for him. So I put some resources together. We had that resource for him, but he's been sort of now just going through the various shelter system along with others. I mean, I even got a call on my way here. One woman saying, "Do you still have the copies of my documents that you made? Because I've been going from one place to another since January, and then I have lost some of those documents." So there needs to be some concerted effort to say, okay, if we say we are that state that welcomes asylum seekers and refugees here, that we have a comprehensive plan to get them through the process of stable housing while they are working on their documentation so that they can go to work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Armando Grant, Duke Mitchell, Annette Majekodunmi, and Loretta Rogers.
Good evening.
Good morning, committee and all others. My name is Armando Fuller-Avalos, and I'm a participator of the CHI program. Being a young black man and Latino man, I was the youngest out of 9 children born in Portland, Oregon. I would like to share how a program called CHI impacted my life. CHI is not just a program, but it's part of my lifeline transformation. CHI has helped many young people like myself who have to navigate through the challenge of violence in our community. When I was involved in the juvenile system, I was introduced to the CHI program. CHI didn't only offer resources to me and my family, but they gave me tools to support myself better and personal growth. Through CHI, I have a case manager, a mentor, a mentor, and a safe place where I can thrive despite the challenges around me. It's about breaking the cycle of violence in my peer groups and offering alternatives that lead to a brighter future. So I stand here today. I want to say thank you to the CHI program for being more than just a program. It has changed my life and so many others. As I continue on my path, I carry with me lessons and support that CHI has given me, knowing that I have the strength and knowledge and the mindset to overcome obstacles that come my way. I refuse to be statistic. I wish I knew about CHI before I was even involved with the justice system. And this is how I know that the CHI program is much needed in our community. And thank you for your time.
I would like to thank the commissioners and Chair Vega Pedersen for giving me the opportunity to speak and tell you about my experience with the Community Healing Initiative program. My name is Duke Lamont Mitchell. I am 18 years old, currently attending Rosemary Anderson High School as a 2024 senior graduate. My connection with CHI has been so meaningful, so helpful, and so strong, I cannot even begin to tell you how much it matters to me. So I'm going to just tell you about the most meaningful impacts CHI has had on me and my family. It is so amazing to see the amount of school supplies, hygiene products, clothes, food, and even help with home and rent bills for all the families in the CHI program and in the community. The CHI program pushes their youth step by step, day by day, to achieve their dream with the mentors I've seen work with their youth and their families. My mentor, David Allen, has impacted me in so many ways on the man that I want to become in the future and what it really means to be a man, by always keeping me held accountable and always giving me the support when needed. I pray that the Community Healing Initiative program continues to help and support all families just like my own with the help of all of you guys. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening. I'm Chairman Vega Pedersen and County Commissioners. I'm Loretta Rogers and I'm a participant in the POIC CHI program. I'm here to ask that you keep in place a program that has assisted me and my family tremendously. My son has been impacted by the juvenile justice system and has behavioral health challenges. Without the support of the Community Healing Initiative, I feel my son may have gone down further the pipeline. As a mother, facing these challenges alone has been very difficult for my family. Having a mentor, care manager, and a parent advocate has benefited my family, and I ask you to maintain support for this program. Can you do this? Thank you.
Thank you.
Magic Odemy. I'm a program manager with the CHI program, and these two young men today represent what I went through about 10 years ago with my son, and Loretta's representing where I was at about 10 years ago as a parent with a son going into the juvenile justice system. So long story short, CHI has changed my life. It has changed so many of the parents that I work with. They've returned to school, they've returned to work, they've got certifications. So all of that coupled with our mentors, our care managers, we have surrounded these families with support and care. And when CHI came into my life, it was a game changer. So that was 10 years ago. So I'm here asking that you continue the funding for CHI. CHI EI has done tremendous work because it's about the prevention and the intervention. Without those two things, our kids just continue to go down the pipeline. So we want to get them and surround them with so much hope and love and provide them with the services that sadly have been neglected in many of the lives. So I'm here to ask you to continue funding for CHI EI and the CHI program. It's really needed at this time, especially with the level of violence in the community. it's sorely needed. So I thank you for having us and allowing us to speak, and again, ask for continued service and support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jonathan I'm so sorry, I'm going to mispronounce this. Frotswhite, Cassie Purdy, Ana Laura Fuente, and Daniel Milan Gonzalez.
Good evening. You can go ahead and begin.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Vega-Peterson and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Jonathan Frogswike. I'm the Public Policy Manager for Cascade AIDS Project, or CAP, and I'm here tonight to urge you to increase funding for the county's STD clinic. As you all are aware, funding for the program that includes the clinic was reduced from more than $8.5 million in 2023 to just $6 million in the current fiscal year, and a quarter of the program's staff capacity was eliminated. As a result, services at the clinic have been slashed. For example, the clinic has cut its staff capacity for preventive STI testing by over half and cannot offer treatment for all patients exposed to chlamydia. Because CAP is one of very few other local providers of accessible STI services, our prevention team has seen and felt the impact of these cuts. I first brought this issue to the attention of the chair's office last summer and again met with one of the chair's staff members about the problem in January. I was disappointed then to see that in the proposed budget, funding for the program that includes the clinic is not substantially higher than it is now, and staffing is actually even lower. We recognize that the budget is tight this year, but protecting public health must be prioritized. This is especially true right now as Oregon experiences a spike in syphilis, including congenital syphilis or syphilis in newborn babies. From 2020 to 2022, syphilis diagnoses in our state almost doubled. And like other STIs, syphilis disproportionately impacts marginalized communities. For instance, due to structural racism, Black people in Oregon are more than 5 times as likely as white folks to be diagnosed with syphilis. The county certainly isn't going to reduce these inequities or slow the spread by reducing resources for public health as is currently proposed. We strongly encourage you to change direction and build back capacity at the STD clinic. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hello, esteemed commissioners. I'm Danielle Milan Gonzalez, Artistic Director and co-founder of El Centro Milagro, the only Latino arts, cultural, and heritage center in the Northwest. For nearly 40 years, Milagro has brought bilingual arts education to Title I schools, and we are proud recipients of successful family funding that supports free residencies to schools in Multnomah County. So far this year, over 900 students participated in successful family-funded arts activities that improved student engagement and self-esteem with arts programming that integrates social-emotional learning and boosts leadership and collaboration skills, helping students to have more successful outcomes in their school and community. While the county works tirelessly to save all the folks in desperate need who are on the streets, imagine what we could do by focusing on the upstream challenges that face our youth by providing more funding to culturally specific arts programs that are essential to the retention of students in school. Through a 2-year case study, Milagro was able to demonstrate a 40% improvement in reading comprehension with bilingual arts programming, and more recently demonstrate in workshops focused on mental health and gender identity that students feel more important, more empowered through their connection to the arts. As one teacher commented in a recent workshop, you helped the students to see that the skills they are working on in this class can serve them in other parts of their lives. Thank you for supporting Multnomah County with supporting Milagro's bilingual arts programming for Multnomah County schools.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Vega-Peterson and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Cassie Purdy, and I'm the Political Director for Planned Parenthood Advocates of Oregon. We're the statewide advocacy voice for Oregon's 2 Planned Parenthood healthcare affiliates, Planned Parenthood Columbia-Willamette and Planned Parenthood of Southwestern Oregon. PPCW operates 5 health centers in the Portland metro area where we provide accessible, low-cost STI diagnosis and treatment. The county public health department plays a really critical role in the healthcare ecosystem for our region, particularly for community members who are most marginalized by our healthcare system. And while Planned Parenthood health centers provide routine STI screenings to tens of thousands of patients throughout the state each year, we rely on our partners at county public health departments to reach communities that we often don't have access to or who don't come through our doors for routine sexual and reproductive health care. When COVID-19 hit, the county health department stepped up to face an unprecedented and uncertain situation by focusing efforts on the pandemic. And likewise, our community health centers like PRISM and Planned Parenthood stepped in to fill the need for STI screening and treatment. But with the all-hands efforts to curb a pandemic largely over, we need county health departments to resume and continue this other critical public health program. Making cuts to the county's current budget for STI screening would exacerbate an already concerning situation. As Jonathan mentioned, sexually transmitted infection rates are on a steady rise, specifically syphilis and congenital syphilis. We need our public health departments at the county fully resourced to help address this public health crisis and meet the needs of Multnomah County residents who don't have access to consistent care. And we encourage the county not to make any cuts to county STI's clinic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Loretta Smith, Brandy Tuck, Casper Murrer, Rowan Spillman.
Good evening. You can begin.
Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson, County Commissioners. My name is Loretta Smith, and I'm here to advocate on behalf of POIC. That's the Portland Opportunities Industrialization Center. And we just want to say that we support the chair's budget and support, yes, you can, I guess you can't clap, you can do this. But we support the chair's budget, and we especially support the bold and very aggressive ways in which you all are going to be helping the most vulnerable in our community. There is a mark in the budget that is for peer-to-peer wraparound supports. And the reason why we think that this is so important is because building trust and understanding with peers who have gone through the similar experiences can build trust with individuals in need and understanding their struggles in a way that professionals may not. This shared experience can help break down barriers and create more supportive environments for those folks who are in downtown Portland experiencing mental health challenges, homelessness, and drug-impacted lifestyles. Secondly, we believe that empowerment and peer role modeling, peer support can empower individuals by providing them with a sense of hope and encouragement, navigating similar challenges, and peer role modeling can inspire individuals to seek help and make positive changes in their lives. And thirdly, enhance engagement and retention in treatment. Peer support can help individuals stay engaged in treatment by providing ongoing support, encouragement, and accountability. Peers can offer practical advice. So, and I think this goes hand in hand with the CHI program. That is perfect. And so I wish you would really support this project and support the CHI program. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
My name is Brandy Tuck, and thank you for having me, Chair Vega Peterson and the commissioners. I urge you, firstly, to direct more funding to homeless families with children. The Oregon Department of Education reported that in the 2022-23 school year, 4,008 students experienced homelessness in Multnomah County alone. That does not include their little siblings or their parents. You've heard many of the stories from these families tonight. Portland ranks second in the nation for having the most homeless families with children of any other metropolitan area. Oregon ranks first in the nation for having more homeless families than any other state. Yet, the Joint Office only dedicates 6% of their overall funding to homeless families with children. Children who experience homelessness are the most vulnerable population. They cannot develop or learn, and they are much more likely to experience homelessness as adults. If we are ever going to stop the inflow of adults into homelessness, we need to invest more into ensuring that children do not experience homelessness. I urge you to increase funding for family homelessness, specifically for program offers 30301A, Housing and Retention, 30403, Supportive Housing for Families, and 30203, Safety Off the Streets for Families. Secondly, I urge you to focus on housing. The federal administration has given a directive to all communities to focus their resources on housing first and moving people from homelessness to housing. Yet our community and this budget dedicates less than half of the Joint Office funding towards housing placement and retention, and dedicates more than half of our funding towards shelter. Worldwide research shows that shelter is the most expensive and least effective intervention unless it is specifically combined with housing placement and retention supports. Why are we investing in the most expensive and least effective intervention? I urge you to follow the directives from the federal administration and to follow worldwide best practice by shifting dollars from safety off the streets into housing retention. I invite everyone in this room to be bold and step forward to do something progressive and meaningful by ending family homelessness.
Thank you. Good evening. Go, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good, excellent. Good evening, Chair Peterson and commissioners. My heart goes out to all the people, the stories that I heard this evening, the needs that immigrants to this country have, and I applaud you for the work that you all do to accommodate as much of those needs as you possibly can. Thank you very much. My name is Casper Moorer. I'm a dragon boat paddler, and I spend a lot of time on the Willamette River on my spare time. I ask for your support of $150,000 budget amendment to solve a public health problem, which is blue-green algae bloom on the Willamette River. It grows and blooms in the stagnant waters of the Ross Island Lagoon, and then it floats down the river towards River Place and far beyond like a poisonous green carpet. It kills dogs and it makes people very sick. It's getting worse every year. Health authority advisories ask people to stay off the river and to keep their dogs away. It makes the Willamette unfishable, undrinkable, and unusable for swimmers and human-powered water sports. It keeps thousands of users away for weeks and weeks. That is bad for Portland, and it means lost income for restaurants and businesses in the downtown area. Last year's Portland Dragon Boat race almost got canceled because of the algae bloom, and that is bad for hotels and the tourist industry. The $150,000 amendment payable to Oregon State University is for 30% of the design to create the channel through the upper rim of the island so that the river current flows into the lagoon and washes the bad poison out and solves that problem for the long term. So I urge you to approve that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Rowan Spillman, and I am here today to testify on behalf of the Family Resource Navigator and Hunger Relief Programs. I would like to say first and foremost, thank you for the projected partial restoration of the FRN program. When I saw the line item on the proposed budget, a profound weight was lifted from my body. I work closely with Family Resource Navigators, and a major concern I have heard is with the elimination of client assistance dollars. The needs families come to us with are often urgent and life-altering. As families wait for weeks on end on wait lists for rental assistance programs, I have seen time and time again client assistance keeping families in homes with running water and access to electricity, families that otherwise would fall through the cracks and become another statistic in our current housing crisis. It is undeniable that client assistance has been a cost-effective, preventative, and restorative strategy in addressing the needs of our families. Children deserve to have their basic needs met, and with the cut in funding to the hunger relief program and the discontinuation of client assistance, we must face the reality that more children will go without. Thank you for your time, consideration, and the kindness and empathy you all bring to these decisions. I know it is hard, and there is a lot of needs that need to be met, and I appreciate your time. And I brought cookies for anyone who wants some. Just find me afterwards, and I'm happy to give you some. They're vegan and grain-free, so hopefully everyone can have them.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we have Amanda Matlin, Laura Jackson, Nicholas Kane, and Elijah Wood.
Good evening. You can go ahead and begin.
My name is Amanda Matlin, and I'm here to share my concerns with when and how the Metro SHS funds are being distributed to JOHS service providers. Since inception, Cultivate Initiatives has proven programmatic success by meeting and exceeding metrics. At times, JOHS has reached out about new programs to add to our contract, including operating the Menlo Park Safe Rest Village and participating in 5 different housing programs. The initial ads are always a scramble, creating positions and implementing program structures so that we can best help our neighbors achieve long-term success in the community. This includes investing heavily in staff development, equipment, and technology. The problem is these programs are labeled as one-time only funding, which means they have to be completely spent in the current fiscal year, and they may not be included in future contract periods. The discretion about whether these programs will continue to be funded seems to be based on the current political climate and not the track record of the program or the wishes of the community for safer and cleaner neighborhoods. As a taxpayer, I find this hard to swallow, and I'm a service provider who sees the transformative power of welcoming our houseless neighbors back into community. I find it unacceptable. We need the county to commit to funding employment service programs and supportive housing with meaningful increases to ongoing programs at the beginning of the budget cycle. Our fiscal year 2025 budget shows a 3% increase to each ongoing program line from the beginning of fiscal year 2024, which is actually a 20% decrease from our current contract budget, including $400,000 of one-time only funding for employment services, which was added to our contract with 35 days left in the fiscal year to spend it. That amount was intended to add another career to our workforce, increasing programmatic outcomes by 25%. When asked if we could shift the $400,000 already allocated to us from June to July, which would be fiscal year 24 to 25, we were told no. Flash in the pan spending will not solve chronic homelessness. In conclusion, I'm asking for the chair and the commissioners to examine the budget process for allocating supportive housing service funding. Service providers need confidence that the county is committed to expanding services and compensating organizations for the increase in program outcomes. And the funding needs to be allocated at the beginning of the budget cycle with less fluctuation from year to year. I'm also inviting the chair and the commissioners and anyone from the community to stop by Cultivate Initiatives and see how we are using Metro SHS funds to build communities that are safe, supportive, and full of opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Becca Peterson and Commissioners. I'm Laura Jackson, a resident of Southeast Portland and involved in leadership in a number of the recreational boating organizations in Portland. I'm also the chair of the Oregon State Marine Board. The Marine Board has endorsed the solution for the Ross Island Lagoon, although the board has not made any kind of decision or support for the ask I'm going to make today. I'm asking you to support the $150,000 budget amendment payable to Oregon State University to do 30% design of adding a channel to the Ross Island Lagoon to mitigate the harmful cyanobacteria bloom. This is a relatively small investment that will help get to a solution for a growing health and safety issue. The blooms are a multifaceted threat to public health and safety, which is one of the county's prime responsibilities. Blooms cause human illness, damage our fish and wildlife populations, and it can have economic impact on small businesses that rent or sell watercraft. With vulnerable folks living on the shores of our river and living on boats in our river and use the river for hygiene, drinking, and fishing, the risks are great. As a community, we've been taking care of our river and encouraging folks to recreate in and on it, and algae blooms are a threat to all that we have gained. The Portland area is considered one of the top dog-friendly areas in the country, and cyanobacteria blooms are deadly to canines. That's why the Oregon Humane Society has also signed on to support this project. In 2019, the Oregon legislature adopted Senate Bill 47, creating the Waterway Access Program. I won't go into a whole lot of detail because I don't have time, but some of the educational grant recipients
from those grants for education in boating safety and environmental and getting folks out on the water for experiences they might not otherwise have would affect folks that have testified in this room today on other issues. Continuation of the trend of hazardous algae blooms, including the increasing length of the bloom and increasing size of the impacted area, will threaten the ability of many nonprofits to fulfill their missions, and indeed, events have been canceled or postponed because of the algae blooms. Clients of these programs include folks who might not otherwise get on the water, such as low-income youth, indigenous families, and folks with physical or developmental challenges who are experiencing being on the water for the first time. Please help save our river, fish, wildlife, and recreation opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have water. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Nick Kane. I'm a Multnomah County resident, a payer of the Supportive Housing Services Tax, and board secretary at Path Home, a Portland nonprofit that helped more than 500 families find and stay in housing in 2023. This is my daughter, June. She recently turned 3 and fortunately has not once had to worry about whether she has a safe place to sleep at night. We're both here to ask that you ensure that every child in this region has that same level of safety. As we already heard, just last year, over 4,000 students experienced homelessness in Multnomah County alone. That count is almost certainly low. It does not include those students' parents or siblings. What's so striking to me as a citizen is that at a time when the challenge of adult homelessness feels tremendously intractable, we could end family homelessness by making a simple choice: give people more money to pay for housing. Use the tens of millions of dollars raised by the supportive housing tax to authorize more rental vouchers, extend their length, and increase the dollar amount per voucher. I really believe it's that simple. Most of the families served by Path Home, including those who spend time in our shelter, have at least one full-time earner. They simply don't earn enough to cover rent at a time of rising costs, nor to withstand an unexpected hit to their budget. It's really money to help with the rent that matters most. We have that money, and I know that this group can make sure it gets to the families that need it most. I strongly urge you to increase funding for family homelessness, especially for Program Officers 30301A, Housing and Retention, 3403, Supportive Housing for Families, and 3203, Safety Off the Streets for Families. And while I'm here, may I offer another vote of support for the Mother's Trust. Guaranteed income is one of the most proven data-backed interventions we have known in the world to create family stability, and I sincerely hope the program can continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Elijah Wood, and I'm the West Coast Partnerships Director at Up Together. We're a national nonprofit organization that for over 2 decades, we've partnered with governments, philanthropy, and community organizations to distribute cash directly to families while learning how they work together in community to reach their personal goals and achieve financial security. I'm here this evening on behalf of my organization urging you to appropriate full funding for the Multnomah Mothers Trust in the fiscal year 25 county budget. As a partner in the trust, Up Together has been privileged to see its transformative effects on many families throughout the county. We are joined by many organizations, both local and national, as well as a host of community leaders who also strongly support the Mothers Trust and its continued funding. This widespread support unquestionably demonstrates the Mothers Trust's essential value to the entire Multnomah community. We've observed through data collected and from Multnomah Mothers Trust recipients' stories that the project has been critical in helping address the county's racialized socioeconomic disparities. Participants have seen consistent improvements in financial stability even during periods of inflation. Because of the project, participants have had more opportunities to set goals, navigate challenges, and achieve financial security. Beyond personal gains, though, Mothers Trust fosters a spirit of giving back, as many of the mothers have dedicated time to volunteer efforts, which strengthens the Multnomah County community as a whole. These successes are mirrored nationally with guaranteed income programs leading to improved childhood well-being, better health outcomes, and increased food and housing security. Multnomah Mothers Trust stands out as a national trailblazer. It is one of the first guaranteed income initiatives funded directly by the public sector. This has served as a blueprint for many other GI projects across the country, paving the way for them to secure similar public funding models. By continuing to support the Mothers Trust, you not only be standing on the side of Black mothers in our community facing financial hardship, but also demonstrating strong leadership in advancing the potential of this tested and proven policy solution. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Next, we have Carol Hardy, Darwesh Zakil, Voicetta White, and Loyalty Hustler.
Good evening, go ahead.
Good evening, Chair Vega-Peterson, Commissioners. My name is Carol Hardy. I am a fourth-generation Portlander, a forest ecologist, and I teach environmental science programs at Portland State. And I'm a master gardener, and I come here in support of funding the OSU Extension Service in the Multnomah County budget. Planting and maintaining diverse vegetation and learning to grow food in highly urbanized areas is critical to mitigating climate change and building community resilience. Opportunities to grow food and protect our ecosystems are in high demand. OSU Extension provides a science-based education that allows Master Gardener volunteers like myself to bring these skills into our communities. For example, small example, I lead 3 Master Gardener programs that do just this. In our 1-acre demonstration garden at 57th and Southeast Duke, we teach how to grow fruits and vegetables using organic methods. The public comes in and learns through classes and signage, and over 1,900 pounds of produce were donated to local food banks last year just from that garden. We offer a 2nd through 6th grade educational workshop in the garden where we teach the basics of ecology, the circle of life, of how all things in the garden are connected. We teach the value of learning to grow food for our families and building homes for wildlife. In May and June, we will teach 200 students from nearby Arleta and Marysville, both Sun schools. We are partnering with Wisdom of the Elders, Bird Alliance of Oregon, and Portland Public Schools to restore the Arboretum on Portland Public Schools community transition property. We will replace invasive plants with native plants, including first foods, and create educational signage areas for the PPS students. 100% of those hours dedicated by me and the people I work alongside with are volunteer hours. Without OSU Extension support and the influx of new volunteers, we cannot continue, let alone expand these programs, and we see so much demand, we can easily expand them multifold.
Thank you.
I respectfully request that you add the funding for OSU, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Patterson and respected Commissioner of Multnomah County. For the record, my name is Darwesh Zakil. I'm the co-founder and Community Advancement Director at the Afghan Support Network. I'm here to express my full support for the Multnomah County efforts to assist immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers who are arriving in Multnomah County. As an immigrant, Oregonian, and community servant myself, I have witnessed firsthand and positive impact the immigrants and refugees have had on our community. In the past 6 months, the Afghan Support Network housed 56 households through a state funding program called See No Stranger. These individuals and families who left Afghanistan to seek safety and protection and pursue a new life away from torture and terrorism. Most of these individuals are very talented Afghans that have successful careers in Afghanistan, but due to a collapse of the Republic of Afghanistan in the bad economy of the country, they had to leave and seek refuge in this country. The diversity brought by immigrants and refugees has enriched our community in countless ways. They have brought unique skills, perspectives, and traditions that have contributed to the culture and economic vibrancy of Multnomah County. Many of them have also started businesses, creating jobs and stimulating the local economy. I want to highlight one of the programs that Afghan Support Network have for the doctorate certification program. Among these families that I mentioned, 8 of them are MDs and they have PhDs. So they're going through a program to get this certification. Within the 2 years, they will be able to certify and get their residency. So think about within 2-3 years, they will be making hundreds of thousands of dollars and contributing to the local economy. The resilience and determination displayed by asylum seekers and refugees are truly inspiring. Despite facing significant challenges and hardship, they have shown incredible strength and perseverance as they seek safety and build new lives for themselves and their families. I believe that providing support and resources to asylum seekers and refugees, Multnomah County not only upholds its values of compassion and inclusivity, but also strengthens the fabric of our community. It's important. I just wanted to say you have the power and you can make a difference collectively, you can make a difference in many asylum seekers' life in this county. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Peterson and Commissioners. My name is Boycetta White. I'm a part of the Mother's Trust program. I got involved with the Mother's Trust when I was released from Coffee Creek. I did 8.5 years there. I did come out of Coffee Creek with a career. However, when I got in the Mother's Trust program, I was an intern for the Oregon's Lion Sight and Hearing Foundation. So my funding was very limited. Since being through this program, I am full-time at the Oregon's Lion Sight and Hearing Foundation. The Mother Trust program has helped me pay for, I have credit now, I have a vehicle, I was able to put my daughter that's getting ready to go to college this year, pay her tuition and down payment for her housing. My 13-year-old daughter, Kylia, right here, I was able to put her in sports. So the Mother Trust program gave me and my family a little bit of stability, as instead of having to live from paycheck to paycheck. This program is very wonderful for other mothers that look just like me and are struggling, and it gives you a little bit of leeway instead of having to look for other means of having to borrow money from family members or not knowing where you're going to get it from, or once your paycheck is done, you don't know wherever you're going to get your funds from. This program has really helped me and my family, and I would like to thank you for making these decisions, and I really hope this program can stay open and help other mothers that look just like me and my family.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, Chair and Commissioner. My name is Loyalty Hessler. I am a part of Monoma's Mother's Trust, which was granted a basic income for the past 2 years. Whoever said a basic income will not work, well, that's not true. Because it does. I am proof that it does work. Gosh, I also did not quit my job based off of this basic income. I continue to work. I continue to work on myself. I take financial literacy classes, trauma-informed classes, and so much more. With the Mother's Trust, I got to pay off my credit card debt. With the Mother's Trust, I got to pay off with my wage garnishments. With the Mother's Trust, I was able to save money, and even after having a terrible car accident, that money was able to allow me to be able to stay off of work. I then was able, with the Mother's Trust, to be able to continue my education and become a nurse. I am currently dealing with not having to pick up overtime shifts versus me being able to study and spend time with my children. So I am truly grateful for that. I do plan on to get my master's, and my ask is that just to continue to keep the Mother's Trust. This basic income has been able to help me and my family, and taking that away would be stripping that safety, that security, that housing security for me and my children. So I want to just give a huge shout out to the Monoma Ideal Lab, and definitely Ebony Bell for being able to put together this project for us African American women, because it was hope for us. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next we have Tarima Taylor, Anita Ward, Andy Miller, Rebecca Batten.
Good evening. You can go ahead and begin.
Dear Commissioners, I am grateful for the opportunity to address you today. When the Mother's Trust Fund was established, I held high hopes that it would bring blessings to my children and myself.
Excuse me, would you mind stating your name for the record?
Tarima Taylor.
Thank you.
It's right after you. I held high hopes that it would bring blessings to my children and me, offering a chance to transform our lives in my circumstances. I am pleased to share that the Mother's Trust Fund has indeed provided much needed stability for my family and myself. It has enabled me to initiate a savings account, secure a car, to improve my credit, and avoid falling behind on bills and debts. Additionally, I successfully completed leadership development and facilitation training under the guidance of Ms. Joanne Hardesty. I firmly believe that the Mother's Trust Fund should be extended as it has the potential to empower more families to overcome challenges and alleviate financial burdens that arise in our lives. By continuing its support, the fund can help families like mine strive for a better future. Thank you for considering my perspective. Sincerely, Tarima Taylor.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Vega-Peterson and members of the Multnomah County Commission. For the record, my name is Rebecca Batten. I live in District 2 and I'm the Director of Policy and Operations at Portland Refugee Support Group, which is an organization that works to support asylum seekers and other migrants in Multnomah County since 2016. I stand before you today, or sit, to express our support for program offer for the Newcomers Support Services pilot. As one of the 3 organizations contracted by Multnomah County to administer the See No Stranger program, we and our colleagues successfully rehoused 300 asylum seekers in Multnomah County in a 5-month period. And PRSG has both seen the benefit and success of that program and has seen the growing number of families, some of which have been here today, and individuals that have arrived in a similar position and are left with no resources and nowhere to sleep at night. As we know, these families are fleeing incredible violence, famine, persecution, and other large issues, and as a sanctuary state and sanctuary county, I think it is imperative that we expand our efforts to support this growing community of New Oregonians and New Portlanders, and I think this pilot program would be a crucial step in that direction. As the influx of migrants persists, it is evident that sustained support and investment are essential to meet these basic needs of the migrant community and prevent further escalation of the homelessness crisis we are seeing throughout our county. That is why, in addition to supporting the Newcomer Support Services pilot, PRSG also supports the proposed funding of 90 more family shelter beds and 25 immigrant-specific youth beds. Additionally, we noticed the proposed budget cut for the Multnomah Idea Lab. This organization has been an invaluable ally and a source of groundbreaking initiatives, including See No Stranger and the Multnomah Mothers Trust. We urge your continued funding for this transformative work. In conclusion, I urge you to support the Newcomer Support Services pilot, recognizing it as a pivotal step towards building a more equitable and resilient Multnomah County, and as a critical lifeline for those in dire need of assistance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Vega-Peterson, members of the Commission. Thank you for holding this hearing here in District 4, which is the heart of our service area. My name is Andy Miller. I'm the Executive Director of Our Just Future, and it's great to hear from the beautiful community who's expressed their testimony to you passionately. I hope you will listen and be impacted by the words that you heard tonight. Thank you for staying and listening. We're across the street from the Aurora, which is one of our shared success stories. That was a partnered investment between our organization and Multnomah County that has created 93 units of affordable and supportive housing, so folks don't have to go to shelter, don't have to sleep on the streets. We thank you for that success. To the budget, thank you for increasing the investment on a per unit basis in permanent supportive housing. It's desperately needed. It showed that you were listening to what providers were saying. What we would ask you to do is to expand that investment so we can convert more existing affordable housing into supportive housing, serving families and individuals who are struggling to escape from homelessness. Thank you also for proposing to renew the financial health grants. These grants help move staff at frontline providers like our organization a little bit up the economic ladder. We need you to invest more deeply. We need you to triple that investment. A 3% COLA as proposed in the county budget for workers that are making $10 an hour below a living wage would lift them maybe $1 an hour. The financial health grants as currently budgeted would maybe lift them another $1.25 an hour. It's not enough, and we've all discussed and shared our passion to try to change the situation that the frontline workforce providing human services in Multnomah County should be earning a living wage and be able to afford their own housing. I would urge you to go back to the budget, think of ways you can invest more deeply in racial equity and in a living wage for our workforce. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hello, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Anita Ward, and I'm here on behalf of the Mothers Trust program. And I cannot express enough how grateful I am to have had this program in my lap for the last 3 years with unconditional income. It has helped me not only realize how to be more responsible, how to manage my money, there's classes you can take, financial literature and stuff, but this program really helped me focus on maintaining stability and even a savings account. I was able to open that and just maintain my bills and stuff, and get ahead a little bit. And so I've been in this program for 3 years now, and it's kind of sad to see it's going, but I would really like to ask that you guys honor this program because it's very successful, it's very effective, and it works. And so I'm asking that you guys continue to fund this program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kristen Lieber, Stephanie Phillips Bridges, Mignana Bishops, and Ali Meyer.
Good evening. You can begin.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Lieber, and I'm the Executive Director for Lloyd Eco District, a nonprofit addressing equity, resilience, and climate adaptation in Lloyd. I have had the honor of working with the county on emergency public health response on heat and smoke events in past years. The mix of volunteers, community leaders, small businesses, and county resources combined successfully to address pressing environmental concerns that have harmed human health, which is, as you know, the county's responsibility and core mission of the Public Health Authority. It's with this understanding of the effectiveness of targeted interventions to address potential widespread health issues that I approach you today. Each summer, my organization supports safe swimming and live music on Duckworth Dock in the central city. We brought last year 2,500 people closer to the Willamette River, which is a body of water that is safe and clean most of the time thanks to past investments made in the name of public health. Those before me have shared the harms of this algae, so I won't repeat, but I ask that you financially support the Ross Island Lagoon remediation, the birthplace of this harmful algae bloom. I want to reiterate, this is a man-made problem and it requires a man-made solution. The best part about this request is that it's fairly modest and the county gets to take the funding for the project to the finish line. Both literally and figuratively, this is an upstream intervention which will prevent future harm to all living organisms in the river north of Ross Island. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ali Meyer, and I work at Oregon Food Bank. In my role, I oversee our school-based food programs in coordination with the Sun Service System, and we currently receive funding from Multnomah County to manage programs at 31 different Sun schools. I'm here today to request that the Commission fund Oregon Food Bank at the level recommended by DCHS, which includes continuing our expanded ARPA funding as part of the ongoing budget. While the worst of the pandemic may have subsided, communities around Multnomah County continue to experience a persistent cost of living crisis. According to data released just today by Feeding America, the child food insecurity rates in Multnomah County increased from 11.8 to 16.5% between 2021 and 2022. School-based food pantries address food insecurity by serving approximately 80,000 households per year in Multnomah County. These are vital access points providing food and resources to our communities. And while I'm representing Oregon Food Bank today, I'm here advocating on behalf of our amazing partners who perform the daily labor of feeding families. Oregon Food Bank acts as a food resource hub and coordinating leader, and the $179,000 we are requesting is 100% pass-through to these community-based organizations. These funds are critical to ensure these pantries are staffed by people who represent the communities they serve. By continuing the full funding request, partners will be able to maintain their current level of service and prevent the need to reduce hours or access. I invite the board to look for testimony from our partners, highlighting how this funding has positively impacted their ability to provide high quality and culturally responsive services to our community. Now is not the time to divest in children and families and their basic needs, and we hope that you support those who provide those basic services. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to provide testimony. My name is Stephanie Phillips Bridges. I'm a policy analyst at the Urban League of Portland. The Urban League of Portland is one of the oldest civil rights organizations and social service organizations, empowering African Americans and others to achieve equality in education, employment, health, economic security, and quality of life across Oregon and Southwest Washington. Multnomah County routinely relies on nonprofits and our specific expertise to fill an essential role in our community. It is often the gaps in service and assistance that we step into. For the Urban League, as a Black organization who's comprised of the community we seek to impact, our proximity is vitally important not only to the success of our work, but to the county. Human service workers, often BIPOC, frontline workers with lived experience, are routinely tasked with meeting human needs by focusing on prevention as well as remediation of problems. This has been further exacerbated by the pandemic, as we have seen nationally. Nearly every sector in the state is experiencing labor shortages. Nonprofits cannot exist without nonprofit employees, and nonprofit employees have an incredibly high rate of burnout and turnover. According to the Nonprofit Association of Oregon's Compensation and Benefits Report in 2020, the average turnover rate for the full-time staff was 19%, and the average turnover rate for part-time staff was 36%. As such, we are asking for expanded investment in all county-funded human services, not just homeless services. Services like Sun Schools, behavioral health, and violence prevention are all vitally important as underpaid as homeless services, and often are intrinsically woven into homeless services. Just tripling your investment would result in a 6% wage increase for those employees making $21 an hour at an average closer to the starting wage of organizations with frontline workers. We believe that this work of human service workers is of value and is integral in the success of our programs, and such should be paid accordingly. Otherwise, we will continue to see a high amount of burnout and turnover. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ricky King, Keisha Candon, Lee Wachaki, Aleda Vilches Ibarra.
Good evening. You can begin.
Okay. Good evening. Am I good here? Okay, sweet. Good evening. Hello to Chair Megan Peterson and commissioners of the board. There we go. My name is Ricky King. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a constituent of District 3. Though I'm also a co-organizer of Letters for Palestine PDX, which includes constituents from all 4 districts. I'm here again today to show my enthusiasm and support for the continued funding of the Multnomah Idea Lab, and especially the Multnomah Mothers Trust, for keeping DCHS program offer 25003 and JOHS program offers 30203 and 30205 in the final budget, and to ask the board to show even more care for families here and globally by taking the first steps to divest from Amazon. There has been a through line so far tonight of community members and service providers who want what's best for people, and particularly families. So far, at least here in the county, I've seen communities stepping in where county or other local governance funds haven't been enough to keep roofs over people's heads or to just keep people's basic needs met. Much of the migrant population here is subject to funds that run out too soon after county offers end, or even going on to crowdfunded housing in some cases. Similarly, the Mothers Trust is an example of giving people what they need in a way that's data proven to be effective, which is fixed income. We've heard multiple testimonies here tonight with people with firsthand experience, and I want to acknowledge that too. Additionally, we've been researching how much the county has invested in Amazon, since it's a pressure target on the BDS list. So we have the chance in this budget cycle to not only to continue to invest in our community through the program offers and programs that I mentioned, but to also to divest from a company whose history and current complicity in the genocide of the Palestinians are contradictory to the espoused values of the board mentioned at the beginning. So please, we'd like to make basically thank you and hear us out on making a difference in this budget cycle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Keisha Candon. I'd like to share what being in the Multnomah Mothers Trust has meant to me. When I found out that I would be a a recipient of the 500-month basic income, I felt a small sigh of relief. Having a basic income to a single mother of 3 who was full of fear after just leaving a domestic violence situation, and having only one income to take care of 3 children on her own, and also having a child in private school, having to pay a full tuition. I had rent, I had the private school tuition, I had car insurance, I had to have money for groceries, I had to have lunch money, gas money, light bill money, phone bill, and internet bill. I had all these bills every month, all on my own. And thank goodness for the Mother's Trust Fund, they were able to come in there and help me with financial stability. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little nervous. It means a lot to me to be in the Mother's Trust program, because like I said, coming from a background of domestic violence, leaving my situation and doing everything on my own, I was by myself. I didn't feel like I had a voice. It came into play with my mental. I had bills I was getting behind, but once the Mother's Trust came in there, I was able to stand up and pay my bills. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. My bills were all over the place, and so was my mind. If it hadn't been for the Mother's Trust Fund, helping a domestic violence survivor, I don't know where I would be. The basic income helped me become financially secure. It allowed me to focus on my mental health. It allowed me to become self-empowered. It helped me get into parenting classes, and it helped me work through trauma. I'm thankful for the Mother's Trust Fund. It not only helped me financially stability, it also gave me a sisterhood with the other women that are also in the program. We work together. We figure things out together. We continue to be strong. We uplift each other. So the financial piece is amazing, but also the community of women that are working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Lee Wachaki, and I'm a public defender at Multnomah Defenders, Inc., MDI. We're a nonprofit that represents adults facing criminal charges. I'm asking the Commission to invest in public safety by funding one in-house social worker at MDI. People who use in public become our clients. People without housing, people with untreated addiction and mental health issues, these are our clients. MDI has over 1,000 clients facing criminal charges. We only have one social worker on staff. One social worker to help them find housing or treatment, to help them navigate a complex landscape of scarce resources. One social worker to help over 1,000 people try to break the cycle that brought them to the legal system in the first place. From a public safety standpoint, this is a missed opportunity. MDI's main office is on the waterfront downtown and provides an easy access point for the county's most at-risk residents to meet face-to-face with attorneys and mental health professionals in a safe, comfortable setting. But we don't have enough social workers to realize our full potential in terms of improving public safety and lowering costs associated with jail and law enforcement. We're dependent on grants that unfortunately limit the number of clients we can serve. The grant that funds our one social worker restricts her work to folks facing felony charges that can send them to prison. The grant that funds the case managers who work under her requires that they cease working with non-BIPOC clients as soon as our BIPOC referrals dip below 55%, which happens all the time, unfortunately. I should know, I have a list of non-BIPOC clients waiting in a queue for someone to help them get off the streets. Social workers are uniquely equipped to serve our clients, but they're hard to attract to the legal system. In addition to providing case manager functions like coordinating services, social workers can also provide some of those services. They can administer critical assessments, and they often specialize in areas where our clients have the most need. Another social worker would tremendously help us reduce recidivism, reduce the use of pretrial incarceration, and help county residents get back on their feet. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify. My name is Alaida Vilchis Ibarra, and I am a member of the Asylum Seeker Solidarity Collective and a former executive director of the Interfaith Movement for Immigrant Justice, and I'm also a resident of District 1. In my role as executive director, my role was to help support congregations to provide support and sanctuary to asylum seekers when I came into the role in 2019. Then it was very clear that congregations of faith communities didn't need to be alone in providing services. So I'm very proud to testify today in support of the Newcomer Support Services pilot. 2 years ago, Emerge received its first call of asylum seekers who arrived in Oregon after they were lied to by Governor Abbott and were sent to Washington, D.C. bused and then came to Portland. We tried to do our best, not being a service provider organization and having a lot of our links have been broken due to COVID-19. Today, I'm part of the Asylum Seeker Solidarity Collective that fills in the gap in the immigration system and the housing system. Our collective receives phone calls for people at the airport or on the street who have arrived to Oregon and has to patch together support with little resources. People have nowhere to go and nobody to turn to. This is why it's so important to make sure that we provide short-term shelter support as part of the pilot. The work has made me incredibly proud of our community because while it shows incredible gaps in the services that exist, it also shows how many people in our communities are willing to step in, from hosting to volunteering, to providing, to teachers stepping in to support their students, to all of the people who are here using their voices to support our program. And the county is stepping in to provide some support, which we're really grateful for, in order to make sure that some families didn't lose housing. I am grateful that the county chair stepped in to support families, and I'm glad that the county is willing to step in alongside us and the work that the community has been doing for a long time. I'm very grateful for that. As I close, I just want to highlight that our collective would be set up for success if every single family who is in Oregon had shelter. So I also support family shelter and youth shelter beds as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Victory Hall, Loretta Guzman, Tayana Tozer, and Brett Winkler.
Hi, good evening. You can begin.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Victory Hall, and I am a program coordinator for REACH Affordable I was just late, I'm tired. For REACH Community Development Affordable Housing. And I'm here this evening to talk about rental assistance and eviction prevention funds. In our communities, we face decisions for eviction for folks who have been placed in our housing, oftentimes directly from shelter and other things. Folks who have fixed incomes and then also low-income jobs. And it's very difficult to make that decision because we don't want to have to evict them or cause them to be homeless again. Finding funds to prevent that is very challenging. The system is very hard to navigate. As a former case manager who worked at transition projects, I can tell you that it's difficult to have them start over again in shelter over and over. So it would be nice to be able to navigate the system much easier and find the money. That's very, very difficult. Also, there's barriers for our residents when they do find the money for transportation to have to go fill out the paperwork. They have disabilities. To be able to find the ways to get there, to fill out the paperwork, to get the funding for eviction prevention and for rent assistance. We'd like to ask for more proactive ways for the county to partner with affordable housing providers to assist residents to help them avoid eviction and stop the cycle with rent assistance and eviction so that we can stop the recidivism and be able to navigate the system, focus the money to be able to stop that. It's been going on for such a long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Loretta Guzman. I live here and work here in the city of Portland. In the recent proposed budget for 2025 year, you have decided to cut back in areas that will further take our city down a deeper, darker, disturbing hole. We honestly need detectives for our most vulnerable child abuse and violent crimes. In recent years, there have been budget cuts for the elder abuse, human trafficking, internet crimes against children, and gun violence. This has really hurt our city. We have had record high homicides. We are known as the murder city, and we just made it in the top 10 most dangerous cities. We have an open corridor for all these crimes and more to travel freely on. It's called the I-5. Along I-5 are many doors where all these crimes happen and will continue to get worse. The crime hasn't gone down. It's just not being reported because there is no one to do the investigation. And therefore, children, victims of crime, elder abuse, sex trafficking, kidnapping, and gun violence victims suffer in silence. To feel helpless is not helping those of us that live here or are most vulnerable, is why I'm speaking for the ones who cannot speak for themselves. Our city cannot afford to lose those fundings, and the other detective positions need to be funded and brought back. They play a vital role in our city's functioning. Also, the Multnomah County Jail is deteriorating from the inside out with little to no funding to help the staff. They currently are working with half the staffing as our neighboring jails, and therefore they are working overtime, causing burnout. This means more lockdowns for longer periods of time, no outside programming, and all this is harmful to everyone's mental and physical health that are incarcerated. I am asking that you add the funding needed so our city can start to heal once again. We used to be known as one of the safest cities. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Multnomah County Commission, Tiana Tozer. I'm here today as your constituent, one of the people you're supposed to serve, and frankly, you, Chair, have failed me in every possible way. As a victim of violent crime, third-degree assault that left me disabled, it took me 34 reconstructive surgeries and 4 years to learn to walk again. After being run over by an impaired driver, I never met the DA who had my case and had little support on how to navigate the system. This is why I fought for and helped pass victims' rights in Oregon. Federal funding through victim support has fallen over the past 6 years, and Biden's budget released in March cut it another 28.7%. So in the face of decline of federal funding, you want to cut county funding for crime victims assistance. The big picture seems lacking here. The most recent data shows that Multnomah County had a 74% increase in serious injuries, disabling injuries from traffic violence. From 21 to 22, violent crime is also on the rise. In light of these facts, it is unconscionable to not fund a full expansion of the Multnomah County Sheriff's human resources and 2 full-time detectives for serious person crimes. Your constituents, all of us, deserve to be safe. So let me make some suggestions on what your constituents don't need. It is common government practice to hire more people to offset incompetent workers and/or management or overtasked or competent employees. So rather than budgeting for 2 assistant COOs, and a chief strategy officer to make up for the COO's incompetence, you could save money by firing the COO. And I would also like to point out the fact that the COO position is appointed by the chair is a huge conflict of interest. That should be a recruited position, not subject to nepotism. I question the JHS Supply Center program offer of $2 million in 21 and 22. You spent $2.1 million on tents and tarps alone through Amazon, so I also support divestment of Amazon. According to the auditor, a government should be able to show if it has actually purchased goods and has actually provided services. We believe that to support transparency, it should be done at the program offer level, not just at the operating fund level. After looking at your tents and tarps distribution, I had 4 pages of questions and discrepancies. I've seen better records in war zones.
Thank you. Good evening.
I'm not quite done because I have waited a long time tonight, and every single day you violate my rights as a person with disability by handing out tents and tarps. $2.9 million for your diversity and equity office, and yet continually you disregard the rights of people with disabilities. Actions speak louder than words, and you have 38,000 constituents. 14.9% of Multnomah County residents are people with disabilities. Stop handing out tents and tarps.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Brett Winkler, and I'm here to voice my support for solving the Ross Island Lagoon algae blooms. My background is I'm a civil engineer. I specialize in water resources and river systems. I'm also a member of the Union of Concerned Scientists that advocates for using science to support well-considered public policy. The Ross Island Lagoon does generate a health risk. There's plenty of stories documenting the risks to people in the history of it, and there's also a study recently that's documented the benefits and the solutions that are available to us. So I'm advocating for the next phase, which is a more sure-footed approach to start the plans and engineering, generating the solution. We do know that the lagoon increases temperatures, and that just is an incubation area for the source of the harmful algae blooms. And by removing that, we provide better river health. this will be a benefit for the people and help buffer the risks of temperature. So, sorry, I'll jump back. The solution is really just to reestablish river supply to the lagoon. We're trying to use natural systems to create the solution. And what it provides for us is water supply and flow. It mitigates temperature, improves dissolved oxygen that just benefits everything. So this is the science part of it. The human part is we want to restore the health of the river so that it doesn't impact the health of people. I also work for the city, so I know we supply a ton of great clean water coming off the streets. I know that's hard to believe, but we do work hard. And so I'd love to see the receiving water be one that's worthy of the clean water that we send down, and just everything that we can do to support this. And really what I'm looking for is building a portfolio of county assets that can support healthy communities and provide resilience to community climate change.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mike Davis, Lite Richards, Michelle Alajmi, Joy Malumba.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Commissioners and Madam Chair. My name is Mike Davis. I'm CEO of Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Centers. We operate 11 facilities in 5 Oregon counties to help people that are experiencing homelessness. Today I'm here to talk to you about Bybee Lakes Hope Center at the Jordan Schnitzer campus. I first want to express my appreciation for the partnership that we developed late last year as we went through our financial difficulties. We do appreciate that. We appreciate the contract for the 175 beds. I do want to let you know that we have consistently been at 92% quota or better as we've been operating there since you funded us. Bybee Lakes serves men, women, families, and those in the LGBTQIA2S+ community. Since September of 2023 through April of 2024, we have helped 852 unduplicated people. Of those, we have helped on average 15 to 16% children. We have consistently remained at or above our 92% quota. We've served almost 35,000 meals. Approximately 42% of the people coming through our doors have addiction issues. 34% are survivors of domestic violence, and 40% have been diagnosed with mental illness. Bybee Lakes offers on-site medical, dental, behavioral health, chiropractic, massage therapy, optometrist, and nail care. We offer navigation services for those in our emergency shelter so that we divert a person's journey from returning to the street. We offer a daycare and after-school care for parents who are working, are looking for work, or need to care for their traumas. On average, 155 to 165 classes are offered and taught by community volunteers. And we also offer full translation services of multiple languages for those who do not speak English. So that's just to name a few of the things that we offer, but what I'm here to talk to you about is the menu of offerings. Wow, that was quick. Can I finish since I'm the only person sitting here?
We have more people coming, but if you want to give us your ask.
Okay. So my ask is we'd like to add another 100 beds to our contract. Yesterday, the Joint Office said they'd like to add 250 beds into the system. We'd like to take 40% of that. The menu that I offered to you has the pricing differentials for you there. If you need copies of it again, I've got it here for you as well. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Sok Iek, Marisa Cade, Alex Riedlinger, Tamara Falls.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, Chair Vega Peterson and the Commissioners. For the record, my name is Soko Iet. I'm here with the Pacific Islander Asian Family Center, a part of IRCO, the Immigrant Refugee Community Organization. I culturally service and culturally responsive wraparound services, and a proud member of the Coalition of Communities of Color. Thank you, Marcus. First, I want to thank you, Commissioners, for your leadership in the process so far and in the past program support for helping our communities directly with IRCO and our critical partners serving community many of whom are in this room and many of whom are Multnomah County staff with health, safety, libraries, and others. I want to express our support of the county's essential supportive housing services, critical emergency rental services, and necessary food pantries, and our passionate family navigators, especially those connected with our son and neighborhood schools. At ERCO, when our hotlines open, our staff, field hundreds of calls seeking support in desperate need of help from also our front doors when our centers open. These members of our community, our refugees, our immigrants, and our BIPOC communities throughout the county come to our school and neighborhood services. Without these services, many would be left vulnerable and in desperate need of time of support. I urge you to continue supporting such programs at a level that would provide us and our community partners and CBOs to adequately serve our communities. Thank you again, and thank you for your leadership in this.
Thank you. Good evening.
Chair Vega-Peterson and honorable commissioners, for the record, my name is Alex Riedlinger. I'm a member of Portland's African immigrant community and a constituent of District 1. I am here today as the Policy Advocacy Coordinator for the Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization and representing our sister site, ERCO Africa House. I am speaking in support of a few of the county programs and pilots that will impact the services provided to immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, and other new arrivals. First, we appreciate the Chair's proposed funding for Family Resource Navigators. We hope this one-time investment in our Sun School families will continue in future county budgets, along with much needed and missing client assistance allocations. Additionally, we are disappointed that the food pantry funding will see a reduction of $235,000 of the money Oregon Food Bank passes through to culturally specific community-based organizations. The goal of these funds is to ensure organizations can sustainably staff pantries and pay a living wage, so workers are not needing to seek food assistance themselves. We urge you to consider the impact this loss of funding will have on food security for vulnerable families. Lastly, we are amid a humanitarian crisis in which asylum seekers and new arrival families are struggling to access vital services, shelter, and long-term housing. Upon arriving in Multnomah County, these families are met with multi-month family shelter wait lists and barriers to accessing social services due to their immigration status and language barriers. We emphatically endorse actions by the county government to house and transition new arrivals into safety and urge you to support the proposed newcomer support services pilot. We also urge you to support the Joint Office's program offerings to expand 90 more beds in the family shelter system and 25 beds that are immigrant youth specific. Due to the lack of immigration reforms and federal funding for services supporting asylum seekers and undocumented immigrants, only local governments like Multnomah County can help fund and empower the community to provide humane solutions.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Tamara Falls, and I'm the Chief Advocacy and Equity Officer for Metropolitan Family Service, MFS. And we are a contracted provider for Multnomah County for the Sun Services Program, and one of the community-based organizations that partners with Oregon Food Bank to provide food pantry sites at 5 school sites in David Douglas, Centennial, and Reynolds districts. We want to first thank you and express our sincere gratitude for including funding for Family Resource Navigators. In our recent community engagement project, we learned that resource navigation is a crucial and valued asset for our program participants, and our Family Resource Navigators have identified that food pantries are an extremely vital resource that many community members depend on. We are aware of the budget constraints you're up against. However, we just wanted to share a little about what we're learning from our program participants, which is that rental assistance is vital to remaining housed, and households rely on food pantries to keep their households fed. Food pantries allow families to spend their limited budgets on other basic needs such as housing, childcare, and healthcare. We're asking the Board of Commissioners to fund food security pantry expansion, which continues enhanced funding for school-based food programs. We currently serve an average of 800 households weekly at our food pantries, and without the food security funds, all 5 of our pantries would be dramatically impacted. impacted, and this would mean cutting vital services, which is food for families. And lastly, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity and share our gratitude for allowing us to share the insights from our community members.
Thank you.
This is the last group that I have. Daisy Pullman, Mar Copeland.
Good evening.
Hey, how's it going? I like this. Anyway, my name is Daisy Maelstrom. My legal name is Michael Pullman. I'm a resident, a comedian, a storyteller, and an activist. It's a pleasure to see all of you. I appreciate your patience. I know your energy levels have to be as low as my cell phone battery. And I'm glad to be here. I'm going to keep this really simple and short. I, of course, support so many things. I'm glad we're investing in our community, but I wanted to talk about one of the main reasons why we need to divest from Amazon. If you're not aware of it, there's a thing called Project Nimbus. I encourage everybody who is not intimate with this to look it up. You can enter it in now if you like. The Wikipedia article is very short. Project Nimbus is a project that was announced by the Finance Department of the Israeli government in 2021. Google and Amazon signed contracts that would cloud services for the Defense Department that would allow them to host things like AI, machine learning, facial recognition, things that our Border Patrol of the United States uses to help stop immigrants from entering the country legally. These kinds of things are actively a part of the genocide that is happening right now in Palestine. The list of crimes that Amazon commits is long, and I do not need to remind you of how they treat the workers, our very neighbors that live here, how they suppress the wages of people, the lawsuits, the planned fracking that they're going to do here in Oregon. But this very thing like this has to be a crime that is too far. At what point do we, the citizens of this county, stand up and say that we no longer wish to participate in a company that holds no allegiance to people, holds no allegiance to the poor, that built this entire world? The people are hurting, and we are supporting that pain by keeping our investment in Amazon. Let's invest in our community, and let's pull our investments away from people that hurt others. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Mar. I'm a constituent from District 3. I'm here to talk today about the Multnomah Idea Lab. The Multnomah Idea Lab provides very critical services and resources towards the community, specifically, as you expressed at the beginning of this meeting, vulnerable communities. And to eliminate the Multnomah Idea Lab is to say that it's not necessary anymore. And I think that that's a contradiction considering, as the previous speaker mentioned, our investment in Amazon, and also as many people before you have said, our lack of sufficient support for asylum seekers. In order to say that a project that is dedicated towards racial and economic justice is no longer necessary, a project that is devoted to deconstructing the racial wage gap and learning the intersection of race and poverty, to say that that is no longer necessary while you have many people of color, black women arguing for their own humanity in front of you is in fact a contradiction. I would urge you to continue funding the Multnomah Idea Lab and I would urge you to continue funding the Multnomah Idea Lab and to make sure that asylum seekers, that their program offers are in the final budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That takes us home. Thank you for bringing us home tonight. I want to thank everyone who was here tonight for your testimony. For those of you who submitted written testimony, be assured that my colleagues and I read each of those as we're considering our budget decisions over the next several weeks. I want to say a special thank you to Marina, who organizes all of the testimony we hear, both in person, online, and written. Marty Fadness, thank you for all the AV support that you provide for these, and for all of the Multnomah County staff who attends these hearings. Thanks again to Marcus Monday and Coalitions of Community Color for co-hosting this public hearing with us tonight. As a reminder, our third public budget hearing will be a virtual-only meeting in 2 weeks on Wednesday, May 29th at 6 p.m. Please consider joining us on the board YouTube channel, and please consider testifying. The board will reconvene tomorrow morning at 8:30 in our boardroom for our regularly scheduled board meeting. With that, we are adjourned.